night or early Friday morning, depending upon where you are in the world, a group of experienced comics professionals get together to examine and instruct about the art form that they love. That's great comic artwork on Comics by Night, Fridays at 5 a.m. Eastern, here on the Indie Comics Network, indiecomicsnetwork.com.
What was that? This is not a charade.
We know our enemy. We've seen behind the curtain. And they have a weakness. An Achilles heel.
They are arrogant and completely underestimate what they are up against. They forget who the game master is. They forget how wise this old demon can be. So, let's see who among them survives this killing field.
When your timeline reaches its Armageddon, what's a kid to do?
I'm not a...
Snag the keys to your mom's experimental ship, of course.
That's not quite how it happened.
Drift aimlessly in the rift between dimensions, trying to figure out how to operate it.
Now hold on a sec.
Pick up a few hitchhikers,
Hi!
Hello.
and maybe solve a disturbing mystery that could lead to the destruction of reality itself.
You know, if this time...
There's always time.
I'm not so sure about that.
Get in on the adventure with the Rift Riders on Indiegogo.
What a crowd! What a crowd!
What a crowd.
Merry Christmas,
No
Bacon
respect.
Nation.
No respect whatsoever.
Merry Christmas, my Bacon Nation. How's everybody doing?
Hey, hell.
I'm wearing a special Christmas shirt today. It's Spidey. It's a Christmas Spidey. Excited about that.
He wasn't doing so good earlier in the thing. I mean, till Santa came by with the save.
Yeah, guys, let's watch that again. Let's see how Santa saves the day.
And he slobber knocker dude.
Starts out like any other day. Batman really taking it to him. There it goes. And Batman comes in. I mean, Spider-Man. Santa comes in to save.
Santa's got a little bit of a ground and pound game.
He really does. He looked a little bit like that. What's it? Ray. What's his last name?
Mysterio?
MMA fighter.
Oh no.
Ray Mysterio.
No.
I would have loved to see some acrobatics out of Santa.
Maybe a little Huntington Beach bad boy.
Him and Sanchez. Him and Dio Sanchez.
We know who you mean.
Right.
Yeah, and he's got that where he gets him down on the ground, stays on top, and then tries to pound him. Yeah,
ground pound, man. Ground.
Yep. That's the kind of game. That's the kind of game old boy is.
Well, that's just how sneaky. File 13 says, "Guess that Spider-Man sense didn't sneak in." Remember, Batman is not superpowered. He just has all the superpowers when no one is looking. So
right, yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I'm low on the priority totem pole here, Luke.
Well, I just want to put you down there.
Yeah, all right. Put me in my place. That's all right.
That way, Randy.
Well, I do love how now he's in the basement.
Pull a Santa on you.
I'll default. I'll defer. No biggie.
Well, I'm going to treat you guys like guests today. So we'll talk a little bit. Oh, man, we got a lot to talk about today. It's going to be a great day. I think we should go right to the chat. Welcome who's here. Let everybody get comfortable. We got Telepathic Bunny. We got him on the panel and in the chat. Welcome, my friend. Immortal Rising Comic Books. Hail, nerds. It is great to have you here. Agent Zero in the chat and on the panel. And I'm talking, apparently.
Yeah, evidently.
Oh, yeah, one of you guys responding for me. Okay, that's what's going on. All right, I was like, wait a second, how am I talking? Yeah, that's right, yeah. I got folks here that are admins, so yeah, we got some work, yeah. File 13, welcome File 13. What the hell was that? Morning, boys. Well, that's
pretty much reaction about everything they're making. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that is most people's default response when the show pops on. What the hell is that? What just happened to me?
That is me trying to wear a Santa hat that's like 3 sizes too small for my massive noggin without the hair.
Bob's even got a Santa hat on this morning.
Wow.
Yeah, the whole
Bob?
whole crew. Welcome, Hojo. Hojo's in the house today. Happy holidays, gents. 2023 is going to be amazing. Just saying, we've got some really cool things to talk about for 2023. It's going to be a very nice time. Very nice time. Saeed, welcome, bud. Wow. Thought they were doing okay. Yeah. Some people are doing okay. Some people are not doing okay. But we're going to talk about that a little bit this morning. I'm going to dive right in. So there you go. That is why my blood sugar is all screwed up.
But not till the fat lady sings.
Yep.
That is
He's
why
warming
my
up,
blood
though.
sugar
He's
gets
warming up.
all screwed up this time of year. Yep, that does it. That'll do it. So, all right, man. This is
cut in, but if you don't real soon, it's gonna get real random real fast.
It's gonna get we're gonna get real random, real weird. Welcome, Glenn Fleming. Glenn is in the house today. Thought I'd leave you guys alone today and do some bloody work. I'll be listening. Well, it's good to have you doing some work.
You do
yeah,
you.
it's always good to have you on the panel too.
Glenn's got that Sigma male grind set. All right, I was talking to him because he was worried we were offended that he hasn't made some of the shows this week because he's trying to wrap out the end of the year. Mm-hmm. I love when everybody's on the shows. It's one of the things that makes me happy is just talking to my friends on chat. But I also love when I hear people. It's like about 2 weeks ago, I heard, well, it's the end of the year, so yeah, we'll do that next year. And then I have people like Glenn who's like, what you talking about? Grind.
You got to get the work done, yeah.
I didn't hear no bell. So yeah, I have props for anybody who's sticking it out till it's time to set it down. You know?
Yeah. So yeah, I
get it done because you'll be ahead of everybody else. That's how it is.
If breathing wasn't anaerobic, I would suffocate because I ain't doing nothing.
Yeah, I get looking at things as a 2023 problem at this point in the year. Like, oh, that's a 2023
problem. Wait, did you just
problem.
say if breathing wasn't anaerobic?
Yeah.
The idea
exercises that you do without breathing. Man, you just blew my mind.
Let's welcome Russ Leach to the chat. Welcome. It's good to have you here this morning. Get some work done. Get some work done.
The idea is to not have any 2023 problems.
There you go.
Oh man, no. See, I embrace that there's going to be problems in 2023 because with problems come solutions, and my solutions are usually leave me in a better state than before the problem popped up. You know,
absolutely. So, yeah.
You gotta go in. I tried to be festive, y'all. That thing's driving me nuts.
It's a bottom dollar that tomorrow. Sorry.
Hey, who sings that?
Eddie.
Yeah, let's keep it that way.
Burn.
Honey's nuts roasting on an open fire.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
here for. It's Hassenpfeffer.
Walk into the doors. That's what I do. I just walk into the doors.
We just had some Hassenpfeffer.
Yep.
Remember that from the cartoons? That dish for rabbits.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. That's
nine.
Anyway, my bro host with the Mo host. How's your week going, Nick?
Oh, actually, it's been going great. I've been working on a bunch of projects. Had these meetings with my business partner who takes deadlines entirely too literally, and
I put the deadlines
into those. But all sorts of really neat stuff is getting lined up in the background. So I love that. I look like the duck on top of the surface while my feet are just going on the bottom.
Right,
you know, that's where I want to be. You don't need to see the work till it's done. And then, how did he do it? Oh, working my butt off.
Here's the thing. If you don't see me online, you know I'm busy.
Yeah. If I'm not streaming, I'm either taking care of my kid or I'm working on something. I do want to put a shout out to everybody basically in the northern middle of our country who are going to be absolutely wrecked in the next few days. When it's so cold, they've lost all colors. Our wind chills and stuff are going to be beneath they don't have colors on the spectrum that they analyzed to go cold enough for how bad this one's going to be.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
4 to 6 inches of snow, and that's next to nothing.
But here's the deal. Randy's further north than you are.
I know.
I'm tucked up into the mitt of Michigan, though, so that Arctic blast slides right down the other side of Lake Michigan, right beneath us through Ohio and Indiana, and right up the other side of the Appalachians.
Very nice.
Thank you very much for that, by the way.
That's the way it works. It's the way it's worked the last couple of years. But
hey, I got to say this. Oh, go ahead. Go right ahead.
We've been watching the videos of everybody talking about the snowpocalypse, and we've seen the estimations around here go from 2 feet down to 4 to 7, but with 50-mile-an-hour winds. So expect a lot of sideways snow and expect it to be real cold. That's what
for the first time since we moved when I was a little tiny kid, I am below the snowpocalypse line. So we're only looking at a few inches, but we're going to get flash frozen first, and then it's coming out of the northeast. That's how lieutenants navigate. Anyway, the northeast. And I have nothing but cornfields. If you go northeast, it's like there are a few little trees for a couple miles. It's just cornfields.
Well, me and Justin here, we're like right on the median there. So who the hell knows what our weather's going to do?
You'll get flooded
because
of the Appalachians, and you always get flooded. 22 taught me anything. It's the
weather. We might get flooded. We might get snow. We might have t-shirt weather. Who the
hell
knows?
Guys, listen. Here's the problem. It's going to get down to like 29 here. and I'm
above.
I just,
No.
Okay,
no.
listen, Donald.
I just don't know how I'm gonna handle
I
it,
know
guys.
it's a
I
big
just don't
storm.
know.
Hey,
It's the worst storm
hey,
ever. Oh my
Hey,
God.
but here's the thing. I wouldn't trade any of the kind of weather that we have for all the hurricane threats and actual like hurricanes that come through Florida. So, just saying.
It ain't that big a deal.
That's right. You should be threatened by
America.
tornadoes.
We
like
are.
us, where the natural holy way where God throws a
Nick,
dart at the state, and you just wonder, is it you today?
Dude, when I found out that there are tornadoes on the back end of hurricanes, I was like, no, no, I'm done.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, they have tornadoes down there now.
Our new friend this morning, File 13, ran into us because of Bunny. The Bunny Man. T-Buns brought him in.
Bunny Man.
I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next. Like Arnold said, life is like a box of chocolates. There is no try.
He tends to mix his metaphors.
I'm sorry.
Is that the quote?
No, that's not the quote. No.
Okay. Hojo says, "What are you talking about? I'm cruising through an ice storm right now, going down 81. My Cherokee is a snow machine. I bet, dude. Yeah, that's crazy stuff." And Moral Rising says, "I'm on the bend of the Mississippi. The river always messes with the weather fronts. I don't know if we'll get buried or if we'll miss this at all altogether." And we've got the indie wrestling.
Well, 513, he's 65 degrees in Arizona, and he had to put on shoes. The struggle is real.
I know, right? That's real. That's a big deal.
Man,
I've been I wore a hoodie in my house all day yesterday.
Oh my God.
That's no joke. Welcome, Ray Haylock. It is early in the morning for Mr. Haylock.
Middle of the morning.
He's on the other side of the globe, and he is doing just fine.
Well,
I'll tell you what.
Quality content that totally has meaning and philosophical depth.
Yes, this is going to be a lot of fun. Now, here's what I want to talk about. As our title suggests, is this an isolated event or the first of many dominoes to fall? And we talked about this a little bit on Tuesday night, but I wanted to get into greater depth and detail with this morning. While many of us are preparing to have hearth and home and enjoy ourselves this Christmas, there are several of our colleagues out there in the comic book industry who got some very bad news that they would not be getting paid for the work that they have presented to a mid-level publisher.
They're on a list.
They're on a there's a list, and poor Nick.
Let me explain something to you before we get to anything.
Burns Nick's toast.
Runs from A to Z.
I have this thing. Okay, it's shocking, but I have this thing. You do the job, you get paid. I don't ask a lot of morality out of the universe. I understand it's a generally hostile place, but somebody does the job for you. You freaking pay them. This kind of stuff is why La Terror happened. It's real simple. It's not complicated.
Well, that's thanks for quoting Malcolm Reynolds from Firefly. He's like, I do a job, I get paid.
Exactly.
Shiny.
No. He's one
Shiny,
of the
yeah.
of our time.
It shouldn't be difficult, right? Mm-mm. So we know that earlier this year, Mad Cave Studios left Diamond for Luna Distribution. Okay, this was following Diamond. DC leaving and Marvel both leaving. Those are the ones that I know for sure are not with Diamond primarily. Now, Diamond still distributes those books, but they have to get those books from the primary distributor now. And so what's happening there is payment and accounts. Randy, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is how this works. They have to pay right away Luna and Penguin.
Only if they want to keep getting product.
Okay, so they have to pay them right away for the big two, and Mad Cave, and Mad Cave is doing some things, and they've picked up a few IPs and absorbed a young adult graphic novel company they seem to be doing pretty good. They're based out of Florida. Of course, Florida companies rock. For the most part. For
Not
the most
biased
part,
at
I'll
all.
say. I'm not
Not
biased
biased
at all.
at all.
No. So they have to pay right away, but they've got all of their smaller publishers that they do distribute for, that they're getting paid late. Like, and I'm not sure the details on that. I haven't seen anything in writing, any articles to get into depth about how deep that is or how bad that is. But we do know that those creators, those publishers are getting paid behind Penguin Random House and Luna. So we know that's the case. One of the publishers that is in Diamond and that has been a part of this kind of mid-level publishing since 2015 is Aftershock Comics. And they have some decent titles that people did like, but rumors were coming out that they had not been paying talent, and that was about a week ago, a little over a week ago, maybe. And then right after that, here a few days ago, they announced that they are filing Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Now, I think at this point, most of us have heard about this. We're going to get into a little more depth and detail about what this means and some of the creators that is involved with this, and kind of what that means for them right now. But then we're going to do some speculation, because that's always the fun part. Because this is not a news show, so we don't have to worry about being accurate. We can have opinions here. And boy, do we got them, right?
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
To have opinions?
We still have them. We're allowed to have opinions without having them masticated and regurgitated for us, I'm sorry.
No one. Words. Hey, I'm supposed to be the salty artist, guys. Come on now. Ray did say he would make today's show. He said, I'll make it. I don't know if Ray got up early or never went to bed, or if he's drinking coffee or shots to keep himself going. I'm not sure.
Wherever he is, there's probably some loud-ass birds.
There's definitely some loud birds wherever he's at. So what I want to do is I want to start with the fact that they are now, I think they said between $10,000 and $50,000 in debt, and a lot of that debt. They have some million in debt now. Okay,
10, 15 million.
Okay, because I was gonna say,
million. That's what I read.
If they're not paying,
I'm sorry,
because they have a functioning debt. There are golf clubs in existence, and
guys, I do have just a tad bit of when I say a number, it comes out wrong.
Oh no, you're fine.
I know what the number is; it just comes out wrong. So here is a list of creators that this year they are not getting paid for work they've done for Aftershock Studios. As you can see, this is a pretty hefty. Is this big enough for everyone to see?
Hefty.
That's what she said.
This is a hefty list. I want you guys to be able to see this. And here's the deal. And Alex Pruitt, Andy Clark, Andy McDonald.
If it wasn't
Brian
such a
Hawkins.
serious subject, you should probably have put it to music.
File. God, yakety sax. File 13 does want to know, how do comic creators get paid? Is it upon completion of the work, or is it something different? And I think that's a valid question for the people.
That is a valid question. There are two ways that creators will get paid. The first one is they do a work for hire. So let's say, for instance, I am working for Agent Zero, and Agent Zero pays me a page rate for the work that I do for him. Now, he's not getting paid for that until he sells books through Arrow Comics. Okay? Now, that's the other way the creator gets paid. They are in charge of it. They've produced the book. Now they're going through a publisher, and that publisher sells the book. And once the book is sold, the profits are distributed to the creator. Sadly, that's probably where most of these people fall into place. because I do know Brian Hawkins from back in the day. We had chatted a bit and had a bit of a not necessarily working relationship, but a colleague. There's a word I can't say it.
So I get what you're
Colleague.
saying.
Yeah, we were associated loosely back several years ago, and I know that he creates, like, he's a writer, does art too, but he is most likely he's one of those people that created content that got published through Aftershock Comics and was awaiting a payout. So that means the money's already been spent on his end. So probably most of these people, the money has already been spent on their end, or the time has been spent. And so what they're trying to do is recover their cost. And they are not going to be getting that from the work they did, published work, went out in previews, went to comic book shops, went into the hands of fans. They are not getting their payout this year. Terrible news. And I think this is a very sad thing. My prayers go out to each one of these guys and gals.
Joe Pruitt.
Yeah. Because
Joshua Waldrop.
A lot of people think that if you're a comic book creator or an artist, you have money.
Corey Bell.
And that is not the truth. I like to watch, what's his name?
Mark Sable, freelance.
There's a comic book creator, artist that I like to watch his tutorials on YouTube.
You're
and
welcome.
He's got a sponsorship. My daughter jokingly said, "He's a comic book artist. What's he need a sponsorship for?" I said, "He's a comic book artist. He needs as many sponsorships as he can get."
Peter Tomasi.
Yeah.
Peter Milligan.
Rex Ogle.
Rex Ogle.
Rob Steen.
The list just keeps going.
Wow, it feels like a joke.
Russ Wooten.
Like it feels like a joke, but it's more of a nightmare.
It is.
I mean, look.
This is a nightmare, and this is a telling lesson for everybody, I think. Because you got to have multiple irons in the fire at all times, guys.
We'll talk about that a little bit this morning as well. But.
And these guys aren't just owed a few hundred. We're talking 12 to probably 18,000 a piece.
Yeah.
So they've
Ends
kept
with
these
Zach
people
Thomas.
working for a long time on a lot of promises. If you go up on that list, you'll see they've listed other debtors that they owe.
Yeah.
A lot of money. A lot of money.
Yeah, let's look at some of those other debtors that they do.
That is crazy money.
Here's the sad.
Keep it going.
All the way up.
Yep.
I think it might be in this section.
And I was never aware of Popverse before this started, but it looks like they did. It's almost as if they did journalism.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. In the comic market, that's incredibly rare.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're going to be an outlet that I look to more often now.
Yeah.
Because they're doing legit journalism.
File Chapter 11 bankruptcy code.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm seeing Substack doing a lot of journalism now.
Somebody's got to do it, and it's not coming out of the main outlets anymore. Everything's all opinion and slant and
that's what
half-truths and convenient omissions. It's just insane.
They owe somewhere between 200 and 999 creditors, with liabilities in the region of 10 million
10
to 50 million. Amongst those creditors are printers, distributors, and creators, with many listed in the filing itself. Now here's the problem.
The ones in the filing are the ones they definitely wanted protection from.
Yeah. Let's look at this a little more closely.
Good to know, Ray.
Their printing service, they owe $29,000 to.
Mm-hmm.
Public House Communications,
How do you get 29,000 in debt to a printer? How do you get 29,000 in debt to a printer?
Oh.
I've been up to $1,000 in debt to a printer, and I felt bad.
$17,000 they owe to San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Ooh.
How does that happen? Is that 1 year, 2 year? Probably could be 1 year.
I think that's a huge sponsorship. I think that's what that sounds like. That sounds like they sponsored I don't know. Or they got floated a table. I don't know how that happens.
I don't either.
That's
Most
definitely
people,
a
there's a
diminishing
big waiting.
return.
There's a big waiting list at San Diego.
Numbers in weird places. Ooh.
Yeah.
I hope a forensic accountant looks at this. I'm serious.
Those were the low ones.
They've openly filed. That means that they're going to have to make their books public to the court.
Here's a printing service that they owe $398,887 to.
Is that a printer?
Printing service.
It is.
Yes.
Holy Moses.
This distribution agreement. They
They're
owe $514,326, guys.
They're $1 million to printers alone.
How were they not able? I mean, how were they able to keep it going for so long? I would think that bankruptcy would have been earlier.
That's the question.
That is
you
the
know,
question we're asking ourselves.
Aftershock is the only one that's really that we know of that's really filed.
Bunny, can you keep track of the
IDW's been
chat for
dealing
me?
in the negative in the millions for the last 3 or 4 years. That's got to be 12, 13 quarters. I think.
Yeah,
And by the way, they pulled Ontos on board, so they're definitely not wanting to be long for this world.
Well, they also, and not that having woke agenda makes you go broke, but there is a cliche about that, I think, for a reason. The Aftershock was is the studio that boasts that it had the first trans character.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it mattered,
These aren't the guys that have told them to check the site, and if they're on the site, they're officially that other political party. They definitely don't want to be associated with anybody.
They're one of them.
On that list. Yeah.
Yeah, they're one of them.
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm on a list.
We call those people hate groups. That's what we call them.
They're part of a hate group, yeah.
I see a trend across the board where throughout America, and it's bigger than just the comics industry, the huge companies are fine, and the people who can scrap cottage level up are fine, but systemically, everybody in the middle is getting targeted. So anybody can fall apart in the middle right now. That's why it's like I tell people always have more than one, even if it's just enough income that you can go to an ATM and get food for a couple days. Always have a second and third, fallback
income stream.
And they want to blame a lot of the weight on this or the lag on this on the PPP loans. I think that this has been going on for a long. I don't think that they could keep that those PPP loans would keep them afloat this long. To tell you the truth.
Well, very
not
few
if they were
13
making serious mistakes.
Anyway.
Yeah.
File 13, the answer to this question of yours is when a writer or an artist owns the IP, they're the ones that assumes the debt or the risk of that IP. They know going in their contract that this is the possible risk, okay, that their book won't sell. But it is in their contract that if their book sells and someone makes money, they will get their share of the money, okay? You run the chances of making more money with a contract like that than you do with a page rate. When it comes time to sell Chrome Dog, Justin will either make a whole lot more money than me, or he would have made a lot less money than me, depending on how hard he works to sell and how well the publisher does with it and all those kind of things. That's how that works. Many of these creators are able to keep the rights to their IP. But with some publishers like this, where they do assume the printing cost and the publishing risk of it, they lose some of those rights. Some of the smaller publishers,
if
Arrow,
not all of them.
Yeah, if not all of them. Yeah. But with Arrow, where I own hybrids, it's mine. Randy doesn't own a piece of it. It's Luke's, and so I assume the full risk of that. If it succeeds, it's on my merit. If it fails, it is on my merit as well. So, but whatever I sell, Arrow gets a part of. Or whatever Arrow sells, they get a part of. That's how that works, and that's a fair model for independent publishers. The unfair model is what happens a lot of times where you're an independent guy and you sign over your rights, or at least you have to sign an agreement where you are not allowed to take ownership of that product for a long time. So it is stuck at that publishing house, whether that publishing house does right by it or not. And that's where a lot
otherwise
of these guys
known
are
as a CCR publishing contract.
Yeah.
I think who is at Action Lab is currently going through litigation on contracts signed over property rights.
Mm-hmm.
It is strange that they decided not to go to Chapter 12, but they are claiming to restructure. So this is pertinent. I'm going to go ahead and share this again because I want to read this out for you guys.
They are rumored to be claiming to be restructuring. That Popverse article is worded very carefully, as we heard from somebody who works up there who said this.
Let's go over what they said. So here's what. Yes,
exactly.
So
Heard it from them.
Objection hearsay.
Could be. We have to be careful about all of this.
Yeah,
we have to be very careful about
we
that,
really
yeah.
don't know. All we know is what we read from the outside looking in.
Yes.
And what we've been able to experience.
What you guys are waiting to hear
from
is
our personal experience.
None of us are lawyers, to the best of my knowledge.
Exactly.
All of our opinions are based solely on observation and should not be held as legal advice, assessment, or anything else. We're literally a bunch of comic book geeks sitting around talking about comics, and it happens to be overlapping the field. No slander, insult, or anything is meant to be taken from this. This is merely totally neutral observations. Thank you. And pay Luke stuff. I mean.
Yeah, because that's really all we can do at this point is give opinion.
Right.
Yes. So according to sources, okay? We're going to say that. According to sources. Aftershock is telling their employees.
You just had it there. Someone familiar with the situation has told Popverse that Aftershock CEO has informed employees that the company will be in a better place in a month, and the company isn't in any danger of closing.
Well, here's the problem.
Remember,
they
those
may not
words,
be in
folks.
danger of closing right now, but they're going to have to find another printer, and good luck finding another printer that's going to work with someone that doesn't pay their printer, because those guys, printers aren't making a killing either because of all this stuff. And good luck finding creators that are willing to stick their neck out for you, with the potential of being not paid in the future.
Absolutely.
Whatever they are today, or whatever they were last month, in a month they won't be that.
No.
They will not have the same reach, ability. They will not have the same reputation. Their reputation is definitely taking a hit here. But now here's the question. Is this just one company that is doing a bad job of business? Or is this something that is one of the first of many dominoes to fall? Are we going to see a lot of mid-level publishers following suit in the next 3 years? What is your thoughts, panel?
Anybody want to take that first? Me?
Yeah, Randy,
hand it
you
off
are
to me.
the elder statesman.
The elder statesman. That's funny.
And you got the most skin in the game.
I can tell you, well, you know, we've just come out of a big skin game.
Yeah.
That we're trying to recover. That's why Arrow exists. But I'll tell you this, back in '85, and here's an old man talking, back in a long time ago, there were a number of distributors that were running into financial problems, a number of them, and all at once. And they crept up nice and slow, and it's easy to build up large totals when you're not looking. You know, you want to ship books out. You're a publisher. You want to get product out into the reader's hands. At least we did at that time. And we had a good 24 distributors that were running product that we were shipping out to, and in different areas. This is long before Diamond became the monopoly that the judge says it isn't. We watched the distributor bust happen. We watched the black and white bust happen in the late 80s. Same way. These distributors, especially Sunrise and Glenwood, are the two big ones for Arrow. Filed Chapter 11, said that they were going to get their act together and that they were just reorganizing. Things will be better once the money starts flowing again. And it never flowed. In fact, Sunrise ended up, the people who ran Sunrise Distributors ended up starting Platinum Studios. So leaving Arrow in $25,000 in debt that Sunrise defaulted on, that didn't pay them. And Arrow has always been a creator-owned company, so it wasn't even Arrow's money. It was the creators' money that they burned us on. And I think you're seeing this again, and I'm not sure if Aftershock's caught in the middle and Diamond is defaulting, if the retailers aren't paying, if there's retailers that are, it could be one great big chain. And if it is, then Aftershock's just the first one to get caught in there, you know, and have decided to do restructuring to try to save themselves. You've already seen Valiant has removed their offices from New York and has cut their production down to one title a month. That's just barely enough to keep your toe in the Diamond Green section.
And that's Exo Manowar, right?
I'm not sure what title it probably is. Exo
Probably,
or Ninjak or something like that.
Yeah.
IDW has cut back severely. And they're going to cut back even more involuntarily because they're losing a lot of licenses. But so's Marvel. Marvel's losing a couple of big licenses at the end of this year. Just in the next couple of weeks, they're done. So who knows? And a lot of these corporate publishers, the big guys, the big two that you want to, the big dogs that you want to call them, are left alone by the large corporations. They don't care what they do as long as they don't cost them money. So if there's people up there that aren't getting paid by the big two right now, and that the only reason that these companies are still around are because the corporate bookkeepers haven't come to them and said, are you costing us money? Because if you're costing us money, we need to shut you down. So I think 2023, early 2020, mid 2024, you're going to see a big change in this industry. I think it's coming at them like a steamroller. I think Diamond's in trouble. I think the other distributors are hanging on. The corporate publishers literally don't care until they have to look. And that when Zaslav come in and took over Warner Brothers, they looked. And everybody was freaking then, if you remember. There were all those rumors. DC was done. They come in and said they wanted to take a look at their books and they want to know what's going on. Well, they're going through and kind of restructuring now, trying to get back to some of the original flavor on some of the brands that they were doing. But I think a lot of the secondary companies are in a lot of trouble, and a lot of them don't want to say anything. The ones that are public, you're seeing them happen. And that doesn't count the ones that are stumbling over their own feet because of miscalculations or bad marketing, let's say, like Oni Lionforge, which has is a whole different kettle of fish. You can, if you have to look at the first domino tipping because of money and you believe the press releases, then the first domino was Oni. And
Sure.
Aftershock is just the next one tipping.
Yeah.
Maybe Valiant might be in there somewhere as well.
Well, we
And
all know that IDW lost a lot of their licenses this year.
And
So
I was going to
next
say,
year,
anybody that's been following IDW finances, they have been losing money for years. Every quarter, they lose millions.
I mean, if anything is a money laundering gig, I think maybe that one is.
We don't want to say that.
I'm just
Allegedly.
a spicy take, just a hot
Allegedly
take, guys.
spicy take.
That's what I do. I'm a YouTuber that says things that are offensive.
And we've always, I've heard for years from creators working in the mid-range companies that it's been difficult for them to get paid. That they wait for a specific check or 2 checks or the 90 days after the check comes in or whatever. You know, and it's not just the companies we're talking about now. You know, they're excuse me, I think there was an article in Bleeding Cool a year or so ago about Xenoscope.
Yeah.
Having problems. And every company has their ups and downs. They have their give and takes, absolutely. But
well, these
publishers have got to learn to do business and cut their overhead and get ready, because this economy is not good.
Okay.
It's probably too late for a lot of them if they haven't already cut back severely, you know. And I think we're going to see a lot of very interesting news in the next year and a half. I really do. It's not going to be good for the retailers. The retailers are going to have to open their eyes up a little bit more to the independent market.
Yes.
Or they're going to hurt, you know, and they have to decide what they're going to be. A lot of them are going to become hobby shops, which they already have been. Games, cards, Funkos, whatever they got to do in order to try to make profit.
Well, that brings me to some more facts, and then I'll let Nick talk, because I know he's got something to say about this.
You can get me rolling on this. I can be there all day.
The number one comic in 2022 for DC was Sandman #1, which is not a new comic. Right? Sandman #1's been out a while.
Well, you know, back when Didio was still in charge, he said that they had run into a problem because these facsimile editions they were doing were pulling down bigger numbers than their new stuff, and they couldn't understand it. They had no idea why this stuff was happening.
They should have
paid
attention.
Now, Nick, go for it, man.
Wind.
Okay, what we have here
that should be a red flag right there. Go ahead.
We have 2 parallel things that are happening, and it is going to absolutely raise the comics industry as it has been known. Okay? And I'll put a third one out there that's going to be more interesting. But first and foremost, went to Walmart. The eggs are over $4 a dozen.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
So as much as we want to live in the circle that we live in as comic related business folks, there's this is a nice little dome city for its environment. But if there's a nuclear war going on, it doesn't matter. If people can't eat, the luxuries are going to get cut.
Yep.
And comics, especially floppies, are maligned, and they have been forever. There's never been a period where comics haven't been bashed as a waste of money. I mean, sociologically, I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm saying it's just the real truth.
Yeah,
all the luxuries are going to get slaughtered. When people, I'm making sure I have gardening stuff, and I have chickens. In a non-chicken environment, because I understand that it could get tight, and historically it's going to. So, with inflation, with home losses, with everything that's coming both from post-pandemic and as part of the economic shift away from oil, we're going to have the luxuries are going to get absolutely bashed. So diversifying your assets is going to be necessary. And that's why everything's turned to hobby shops. All the comic shops, because those guys, the ones who are holding out, they got to survive. and they're getting targeted from the games industry too, because the biggest guy in the games industry being Hasbro owning WotC owning D&D, all that for now, because
Wizards of the Coast to those uninformed.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Wizards of the Coast. Same guys who own Magic. They're all tottering on an god, because a lot of home-based entertainment industries bloomed during the pandemic. They made bucks. All the internet stuff that blew up made bucks, and people expect the money to keep going like this because economics does not agree that physics exists. So they always, it'll just keep going.
That's a way
and
to
then
say it.
Physics at some point goes, nope, and smacks them on the head.
Yeah, that is a really good point. Yeah, I like
what goes up must come down.
And what's going to happen is it's going to crash. And whenever there's a crash, two groups survive. Okay?
Yeah.
So we're kind of moving over to my sideline. The biggest boys. And you said, big corporations aren't interested in comics right now.
No, they're not interested in publishing. They love the brands because they make billions of movies.
What you're going to see, if I'm going to pull out a crystal ball, is there's an opportunity for predatory business here. And I mean that dead. And if you want to know where the money's going to be, in my humble opinion, just by watching trends, what's going to happen is all these middle-sized firms have proved that money could be made on these IPs. They just didn't have the resources or the wherewithal to do it. So what's going to happen is you're going to have a whole bunch of IPs that get freed up by breaking up these smaller companies, because that's what comic books are from a business sense. From a business sense, comic books are IP farms. You get the IP and it goes, oh, good, we can make enough to see that people are interested. And then we need to make the cartoon to sell it to younger audiences and get it broader so we can get the advertising.
That's why we've got a company like Scout Comics out there that literally they're flooding previews with, in my opinion, a lot of mediocre at best IPs. Some of them are pretty good, okay? But I think that's the idea. Their model, publish a whole bunch of stuff and hopefully something sticks. And now they've got the license, they've got the contract in order to be able to feed off of licensing that and optioning that.
All the comics are
working off of percentages then and not page rates.
That's what they want. They want the Walking Dead because you could get it for a steal at the start.
Yep.
If you can find the comic that makes the next Netflix hit, and then think of all the Walking Dead tie-ins, to the point people don't think of it as a comic IP. People think of it as a television IP now. That's where the money's going to be. Now,
let's get to this comment. Let's try to get to this comment real quick, and then we'll get back to this. Because Formal says something else down in the chat that is already happening, okay? So they say, so I wonder if comics and graphic novels are going to go, or do what they've always done and adapt, or if they're going to, go, so the physical versus digital. I think you're going to see more go digital. I don't think physical comics will ever go away because there's too many tenacious creators out there, like the ones on this panel, that like having things in their hands. It's like what Stanley said
about boobs.
They're great they're great looking out on a screen, but it doesn't beat having a pair in your hand. That's the absolute truth about it. Okay, but here's the thing: they go, oh great, we're going to get NFTs. Already a thing. Okay, there's a company out there that is selling NFT PDFs using, I believe, Ethereum is their thing. I had an option for this like a couple years ago. I bowed out. I said, no, thank you. I don't want anything to do with this thing. But what they're doing is each PDF gets assigned a digital fingerprint so that it is treated just like a physical comic. And yeah, so that's already happening, guys. Already happening. But then we had up here, where was that?
How do you keep that from being pirated then?
Because it's already, you can't pirate it because that digital file is an NFT. You can't pirate an NFT.
So
the trick is, it's more, why would people care? That's
So-
I mean that's the real trick.
So let me put a little. Go ahead. Let me put a little. I guess I don't want to say a little spin, but maybe a little shine on this. Shine a light on this. I'm very keen on the role playing game development process with some work that I've done for Genesis, the narrative dice system. And one bookshelf, the parent company to Drive Through RPG. They make it so that whenever you buy a PDF, and they've made their business model, they just went all in with digital, with some print on demand options. And what it is when you purchase a PDF, that PDF, I mean, I'm skipping the NFT for the moment, but that PDF is watermarked with your name. And an identifying mark that, like a number, a serial number that is unique to, say, me. So every time I buy a PDF on there, it is my PDF. And if for some reason I upload it somewhere, culturally, geekdom, they're going to see, and they can blacklist me, and they can report me, and I can actually lose my ability to buy further PDFs from Drive Through RPG. And I don't know if anyone's really paid attention, but it's really hard to pirate PDFs these days because of that. It's almost like there's a decentralization of and there are people who actually care enough about this to put the brakes on it. So, I mean, it's minimized. Piracy is minimized these days. It really is.
It's interesting that you say that, because there's another thing that's going on where older PDFs are becoming branded as pirated, even if they're not, because they don't have that metadata. Because I've encountered that where I legitimately got all the novels for Vampire Hunter D, the source novels, which are incredible, through a Humble Bundle. However,
Humble Bundle,
Amazon does not recognize that as a valid PDF.
Oh, for you to read it with the Kindle?
It basically tried to seal them up on one of my boxes.
Oh no.
And so what we're going to get is it's sort of like when you accidentally have two firewalls going at the same time on your computer. Have you ever accidentally done that, or you had somebody help, and you have one antivirus and the other puts an antivirus and they start fighting?
Yeah.
Yeah. It creates a virus in a way.
It creates a virus, and it's nearly impossible to get one of them off because they're both fighting each other. It's really weird. So we're going to see a lot of complexity with that. The workaround with that will be it's basically the visual scanner. So there's and I cannot remember the name of the program, and there's a whole family of them that basically will scan a PDF and let you make a new PDF of the original without the existing metadata. So the pirating technology to offset that is already in existence.
Well, yeah, here's the deal. People are always going to pirate.
Yeah.
What I get sick of is these guys that, all right, I'm going to say something that's probably mildly to very offensive. No one knows who you are. If you sell someone a PDF of your comic book, they probably don't care enough to print it off in mass and sell it to other people, okay? They're not. And if you're really worried about that, just send a lower resolution PDF that's not print quality, and Bob's your uncle. It's taken care of. Stop jerking around about whether or not to sell PDFs. Right. You know what? That's how some people need to be able to read or want or prefer to read it.
Exactly.
Think about the customer first. In 2023, what we've got to do is stop thinking about the shops, which is what we're talking about right here with James Hayes. We can't keep thinking and selling to the shops. That's what got Aftershock into problems. That's what's getting all these other creators into problems, because they are selling to Diamond is what they're doing, which are selling to shops. And those shops aren't necessarily selling to customers. Did you know that in March, Keanu's getting canceled.
What?
Boom is canceling Berserker. Its last issue will be in March 2023. Keanu's getting canceled.
But it's over, right? I mean, did they finish the story?
They probably did. They probably did.
Yeah,
but
so,
I mean, here's a book that wasn't as it was great to start out with, had a lot of buzz, but you know what? I've got the first 2 issues. I forgot they were still running it. I mean, well, part of that reason is I took a nap. You know, again, the guy that puts dead into deadlines.
I mean,
but
you know,
but the thing is, we have to start focusing on the reader first, right? We have to think about the end result. Are these people going to comic book shops? A lot of these shops are closing, which is limiting the amount of places that these distributors can distribute to. And if that limits the number of places they can distribute to, it limits the number of copies each publisher can distribute.
And
when
I would
that is
like
their
to dovetail
sole
on
means, especially if that's their sole means of getting books into people's hands, you've got to find other methods.
For the last 30 years. Yeah.
And I want to dovetail on that. Spinner racks. I mean, again, in my area, granted, I live in, rural, somewhat podunk, not even mid-level city, smaller city area, and I've thrown. I've got 4 spinner racks, and I put a bunch of Arrow titles on display, as well as kind of mixed in with alternate comics, and people they bypass it because spinner racks are gone. Maybe I'm crazy, but the spinner racks being in the markets, they were a thing. They're no longer a thing, and people just don't want to go there anymore. They're just like, they bypass it. They're there to buy groceries, or they're there to buy their smokes. They don't want to be bothered trying to buy something else. And then as a grocery retailer, the option of having a bag and board on a comic book is way more appealing to prevent customers from leaving copies throughout the store that they've read and this and that, and also to prevent shrink. Yeah. So me bagging and boarding them does a disservice to the reader itself, because the reader is going to be less likely to buy the comic because they want to try to keep it pristine. Now it has this air of,
or they're not opening it up. That's why at cons we always have a reader copy. We have a copy that people can touch it, look at it, smell it, feel it.
So I think, for that reason, I think a lot of these, as to quote the Shark Week, Shark Tank, for that reason, they're out. It's kind of like, it's just for that reason, I really, we definitely need to be more flexible and agile, and try to start making real changes and compete with these folks. And like you said, the reader first. So folks like myself, and I'm sure Bunny, as well as, everybody on this panel, we're all doing our very best to write compelling stories that will, energize readers to really want to read what we've got to say.
Yeah. You make some great points, and Aaron Jordan dropped something about people steal manga volumes all the time. They don't complain about, because they've taken the liberty to make things available, affordable, so people have a reason to purchase. We have to understand that the bootleg environment, one, is eternal. See, my books, like The Simple Sword, my fencing manual, this guy right here has a huge following in Russia, where it's not just pirated, but it's literally pirated and printed, because I've seen on people selling on Amazon my book that they pirated. You know?
Those Russians.
Yeah, and here's the thing. That's always going to exist, and that's going to almost be more important as an I hate to say it as an advertising tool. But for the people who can't afford comics, they're going to go, if they're interested in the IP, they're going to download the PDFs wherever they can. And then when they find could you wait, could you
I'm good at that. I'm good at interrupting people.
Yeah.
It is my. You see, I maintain civility during discussion, but getting
Not during
back
sword
to it,
fights.
they're
Bam.
going. Oh no! I'll let you try to stab me during a sword fight, please. It makes it easier for me to kill you. But the manga thing is still not. It's not batting an eye. And the manga industry, and look at it. That would be us trying to look at not just the comics industry, but the international comics industry to be doing so well. Because this isn't in native. The manga industry in Japan is insane. Self-inflicted democracy. I love it. But what's different about it? And a lot of it is perceived value. Where floppies are getting degraded publicly. I see people. I hear it all the time. I've heard it for years, and more people are getting trade paperbacks, and they are living. Most of the comic fans I know are living at places called like Ollie's, where you get the discounted.
Randy.
Hey, hi. My name is Nick, and the last comics I've bought for the last couple years that weren't by that guy over there came from Ollie's. The last floppy I bought in, well, it's really easy. Whenever the Sable one-shot came out, I told myself everybody deserves one second chance, and I hadn't bought a mainstream comic since I read the Hail Hydra moment from Cap. I'd walked away. But I have always said that if you want inclusion in comics, instead of taking titles from someone else, take the existing characters that fit that and write them better, or write new characters. And so I saw Sable. I'm like, I actually like Sable. I thought she was a great character. She could have been developed more. And I enjoyed that comic. It was well written. It was intelligent. So, of course, Marvel couldn't hold on to it because it wasn't an agenda. It was just a well-written female character. The problem is, systemically, there was an arc in the between the late 90s to 2010s when comics kind of started to crash because people didn't like the titles, right? Disney's been flying, doing great, and all of a sudden our Marvel movies are tanking. Why?
Because they're finally making the movies of this comics that no one bought.
I mean, can you imagine how bad a Captain America movie would do if he looked at the camera and said, "Hail Hydra"?
That's coming.
It's happening. Yeah.
That's happening. Yeah.
And it's like
they've got to prop up Sam somehow. They're going to find a way to make Captain America say "Hail Hydra."
But you get my point.
Guarantee it.
I also want to talk about something else about the middle comics before we go any farther, because they have been eroded by another industry. There's been this industry that has set sights on the middle comics because the guys who buy from IDW, from 2000 AD, from the guy Aftershock,
Boom,
are the
Aftershock.
ones who love comics. They love well-written
Dynamite.
comics. They're deliberately not spending money on the big guys.
Yep.
You know what happened in the last few years? There's been this surge. It's a weird thing. All these independent creators have found out that they can crowdfund comics and that they can make individual comics and they can get paid on time for their comics.
By the fans.
I hate to say it, but guys, the money.
If it's not on Comic-Con, it's not happening, Nick.
What?
No, that's right.
If it's not on Comic-Con, it's not happening, Nick. Yeah.
Exactly. But my point being, where the money that comes to our comics had to come from somewhere, and the guys who buy Frog G's comic, who buy Chrome Dog, who buy Hybrids, are the guys who were buying Savage Dragon, and and all these other comics out there. Lady Machina. What are they doing? They're shopping. We're like, wait, these guys are better. I can get it delivered. I'm supporting comics. And heck, sometimes title for title, it's almost cheaper because the comic prices keep going up and up and up without the value going up any higher. The ads are going up. So from a product, I mean, if we step out of the ins and outs of comics and negotiation, we just look at it as a consumer product. The value of floppies, especially mainstream floppies, as their art keeps getting worse. Yes, I'm looking at you, Batgirl's apartment. I have not forgotten, and I will not forgive that bathtub.
So I want to know who was the artist that did that, because I have a feeling that was a troll. I think that may have been a silent protest, kind of one of those situations where they got tired of being having art being kicked back or having this or that. So like, okay, I'll draw your picture. I'll draw your little scene, but I'm gonna wreck it.
I think one of the best drawn panels that I've seen. I think one of the best drawn panels I've seen in a long time was when Supergirl popped the zit.
Oh,
that was beautifully done. That was a beautiful panel. It was hilarious. It was hilarious. I'm like, where did all that pus come from?
I don't think you get better than Arpel O'Neil myself. And not
to mention it. Well, and it was that minimalist looking cover too. It's like
I don't have a problem with that minimalist stuff, but man, come on,
as a cover, it's a cover.
Yeah.
Like
it's still April, right?
April.
Well, I'll tell you, they have started up in their art game. Nitho Diaz is now working on Thunderbolts and a couple of other ones, and he is a fantastic artist. Yeah. Now I do know that next year their 2 Transmutants are going to be in the New Mutants storyline. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that having mutants that represent people that are in the world are a good thing. But if they rely on story writing tropes that just relies on their sexuality or their gender identity, those books are going to fail tremendously, because that's not a story that people read comic books for. They read comic books for, that there could be some of that woven in. So I watched a Christmas movie last night with my family. We
Die Hard?
No, we pick a new Christmas movie every night from a list randomly to watch. Last night we watched Holiday in Handcuffs, which was an old ABC Family Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Has Melissa Joan Hart, who I had a huge crush on when I was a teenager, and Mario Lopez, who everyone has a crush on now, and probably always will. And so those two are in this movie, and in that movie, her brother comes out as gay. And now it's a trope that there's always a gay sibling. But in that, it was just organic storytelling, because everybody had some big blasting news that somehow would be overshadowed by the fact that, oh, my fiance is actually this other guy that I kidnapped to bring here this weekend. So it was well done in the storytelling, and no one cared that there was that kind of inclusion because it was natural. It wasn't forced. But that's not how they're doing it now. Now it's like, oh, well, we've got to do this, and this. It is almost like, it's almost storytelling by affirmative action. And if you start telling stories that way with an agenda, it is going to fail every time. Okay? When people started writing those stories in the early 2000s that kind of had almost like a social justice agenda to it, people backed off. They just backed off because they weren't interested. I stopped buying comics in 2001. Okay? I was 21 years old. It coincided with the fact that my daughter was being born, and I had a mortgage. I just couldn't keep up with. I couldn't justify spending money on books that I wasn't interested in. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I think also it needs to be pointed out that the ESG money it's also had something to do with it. But a lot of these, there's been evidence that the ESG money that's been used to like prop up a lot of these programs is starting to be narrowing its focus. So there's a
ESG.
lot of companies.
Sorry, you're using an acronym. So what's?
Oh, okay. Environmental, social, something
Governance,
justice,
maybe
governance. Right.
I think it's governance. Yeah.
It's a program that came in through when they when they bailed the banks out. Basically, the people that bailed the banks out, like basically came in and said, okay, well, we will fund this program, but these people have to jump through hoops to get the money. And they have to prove that they're going to improve justice or improve environmental or improve, yeah.
So it literally was money by affirmative action.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
No,
so,
I'm not judging it. This is a term I hadn't heard.
Right.
I will say suddenly, good Lord, suddenly does this make a lot more commercial sense to me.
Well, if you were wondering why these companies were making these decisions that were basically to their own detriment, and were obviously, not making financially sound decisions, like they're taking like formerly lucrative IPs and just toasting the hell out of them with wokeism, and it doesn't make any sense. Well.
I admire your subtlety. Whether I agree with you or not, that I admire the verbal shank. Please continue.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, so
Cooper's good for that.
Yeah, it's kind of my stock and trade. Anyway, so essentially what's going on is that a lot of people see indication that these companies are like pulling away from funding these programs. And so they're narrowing the focus. So, people that were getting ESG money are no longer getting that ESG money, and because of that, they're basically all these decisions that they made to jump through the hoops to get that money are now coming back to roost, and so. You've seen a lot of companies that suddenly are doing these 180 turns, like Gillette. Okay, Gillette, what do? Well, we're basically finding primarily our customer base is males that shave. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, let's put out an ad campaign that tells them that they're all toxic males and that they, and
that'll work.
Masculinity is evil. Well, they lost $1 billion in one quarter.
Yeah, we have to talk about that for a second because it did give rise to Luke's favorite commercial of all time.
I love it.
Okay.
Do I need to bring it up?
The shaving trans kid.
I can't even remember the company, but the world's douchiest douche guy, who comes in and double parks in his thing and has supermodels walk. It was like the world's most interesting man if he had no class.
Yeah, it was Jeremy's Razors with
Jeremy Razors.
The guy from Daily Wire.
Jeremy Boring, yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, drives in with the that's actually the Blaze TV. This not Blaze TV. The other one, Daily Wire.
Daily Wire. He's their CEO.
Well, the Harry's Razors did the same thing, calling men toxic. So they're like, oh, well, here's a razor that you can buy that won't blame you for being male. So that's what that was all about. It was like
that makes sense because, wow, thank you. It is financially bothered me, and I want to say this because this is not racially motivated in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
Can we not for a moment, Luke? I actually want to say this without.
Sure.
Okay. Cool. I couldn't figure out how, from a capitalist perspective, catering to a minority would make you enough money that justifying isolating the majority of your potential customers would work.
And capitalism point of view.
And again, it's not. I think representation is important. I think everybody should have stuff, but it doesn't have to be zero sum. And I couldn't figure out why so many of these companies so quickly went to zero-sum logic, where what I mean by zero-sum logic is the only way to build up somebody is to degrade somebody else, which I don't.
It doesn't make any sense.
Building everybody up. It's kind of this rising tide theory, but
it's not representation; it's replacement.
Right, and the problem is the numbers mechanically weren't there because, if 5% of the population were trans, which I don't think it's anywhere near that high, but it's a number I think in 5% chunks. Why would you tell 95% of your people not to buy the product? It's like what happened with the latest Wakanda movie, where there was that whole movement. If you're a white person, don't come and see this movie because it's not for you. Right. And that literally was a publicized movement. And the problem is there are a whole lot of white people who are, okay. I
haven't seen the movie yet.
I haven't either. And I'll be honest,
I want to. I don't know at what point I'm allowed to see it without being racist.
Yeah, can we have someone, which I hate to say it, but wasn't that a racist stereotype for a while? The wise African American person who could tell you when you're doing something wrong.
Played by Morgan Freeman.
Usually, or a Oprah-looking African American lady. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I'm
recognizing that as a trope. Again, I'm not agreeing.
I don't
with
even
it,
want to see it. So
it's okay. No, me neither.
Not even. No.
I don't even have a desire. None.
I have no desire to watch any more Disney, Marvel, anything. They can just go to.
So
I think I'm gonna watch the Christmas special.
Yes,
the Guardians of the Galaxy.
That is good.
It was okay.
That is good.
It was okay.
It was good enough.
I wouldn't use the word good. I would say okay.
Fine. It was fine.
It was fine.
Let's
have a laugh. Let's have a laugh. Let's watch this commercial that came out of Gillette's stupidity. Okay. This commercial. I mean, literally, this commercial is great. What they do is they literally take every trope that that the leftist. I don't want to. Do not confuse liberals with leftists. Leftist is a religion. It's a religion. They worship politics and politicians. Those people, they take every trope of them and they just try to sell a razor with it. In one of the funniest 4 minutes commercial that I've ever seen. So because we're a long format show, let's roll it and have a laugh, okay? And there's a lot of facepalm in this, guys. I'm telling you, but they did it intentionally. They knew what they were doing.
It hurts. I'm going to endure this because, one, it's my fault. It's my fault.
You did bring it up. You brought it to remembrance. So take your medicine.
This is my gift to Luke for Christmas. I brought up because he knows how much this commercial physically hurts me at times.
It just, it is so cringe. Here you go, guys. Check this out. Enjoy, Bacon Nation. Like, honestly, this is a guy I would try to kick in the nuts.
Do you remember when there were two genders and only 1.5 of them had to shave their mustaches?
Only 1.5.
Oh, hi. I'm Jeremy Boring, CEO and God King of the Daily Wire. Harry's Razors used to advertise on our shows. They're a great product, and we were happy to do it. That's before some peon who works for me went and said that boys are boys and girls are girls, and that was just too much for Harry's. They condemned our views held by millions of Americans and virtually every human who's walked the planet until about 15 minutes ago, as inexcusable. And they dropped their ads from our network because of what they called values misalignment. You're damn right our values are misaligned. And it's not just Harry's either. Gillette razors used to be the best a man could get. Then they decided that men are too toxic. Unless you're the kind of man who teaches his daughter to shave her beard. If that makes sense to you, keep buying Gillette. But if you've had enough of the woke bullshit, and you're tired of paying companies like Harry's and Gillette to hate you,
I do want a flamethrower for Christmas. That would be nice.
then buy my new razor.
Probably not the best thing to have, though, in a room full of comic books.
No. Unless they're all
Behold, Jeremy's
Marvel
razors.
DC
Yes, they're
comics.
real. Yes,
Modern.
They're fabulous.
Current.
But Jeremy, you say, you're a spelt silver fox with a salt and pepper beard that's the envy of lesser men. You're damn right I am.
He's
And
such
I want to be
a-
clear
he's
that
such a
shaving with the
douche.
Jeremy's
I
razor
love
won't
it.
actually make you look more like me.
Power.
Could make you look more like this guy, though.
I love the homoerotic moment there.
Yes.
And that's the most homoerotic moment you'll ever get from a Jeremy's razor commercial. What kind of man shaves with a Jeremy's razor? I don't know. How about cowboys, firefighters, those guys that shot Osama bin Laden? I mean, no, none of those guys have
with
ever
the
even heard of a
eagle.
Jeremy's razor, but imagine how much more manly they'd be if they had.
I do want to comment, having to watch this again.
What's
He
that?
had skinny women, but damned it if halfway through the commercial he didn't bring in a slightly nerdy, curvy chick, and I want to
Right.
applaud him for that.
Yeah. Well, because variety is a slice of life, man.
Right now, you're probably wondering if this whole thing is a joke. Sure it is. That doesn't mean it isn't real, or that it won't be the best shave of your life. Harry's Razors doesn't want your business. I do. They seem
at
to
that
hate
cape.
you. And I can't say that I love you, but I don't mean you any specific harm.
I like that. I don't mean you any specific
Our
harm.
country's in trouble. Conservatives are being canceled by Hollywood, the media, universities, and now Harry's Razors. Stop giving your money to woke corporations who don't think you deserve their product. Give it to me instead.
Head over to IHateHarrys.com and pre-order your Founders Series razor and shaving cream set today.
I do believe the link still works. I think you can buy the razors right now.
Yeah, it's still working.
Well, I'm sure they're selling.
Oh, they are. In fact, I believe James is sold. He's like, where can I buy one? I mean,
You want
the
to
marketing works for people.
Luke, you want to see how much you've radicalized me?
Oh,
The first time I saw that, I had like horrendous cringe. Like it physically hurt. At this point, I'm like,
You ain't wrong.
I get tired of being kicked in the teeth. That's my problem.
Yes, that's what happens. That is the
sort of like,
problem.
did you go? I'm going to ask you. Did you want?
Your actions have consequences. When you oppress people, they rise up in a fiery anger.
Yes. Okay. All that aside, did you find yourself watching Wakanda, Black Panther, the first Black Panther movie, and about a third of the way, halfway through, Killmonger's like he's doing a speech, and you're just sitting there, sort of, and I hate to say it, he cheated. They cheated in the end of that. He lost the duel, and then he got rezzed. He cheated.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. By their rules, he cheated.
That is a cheat. Ain't right.
Yeah, there was some serious dishonor in there. I'm looking at your cow, man. I am looking at you. I'm looking at your cow. There is some dishonor. You're a Disney property. I can do that now. But
yeah.
But like that's kind of how I feel. That whole moment of there's some validity to that.
There is, and
my dad has a saying. My dad has a saying. He said it for many years. He's an old. He's in the 70s.
Frog G just laid a link down on it, by the way.
Oh, thank you, Frog G. You rule.
Frog G, the man. He's the man.
But what he said is they call us dinosaurs and then forget we have teeth.
Yeah.
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 And then everybody gets upset when we have teeth. And it's this. This is why I like the people I associate with, because we could sit here and whine, and there are lots of channels that sit there and whine, and we're at that part of the show. We're about an hour. Wow, I didn't even time it, but I'm right at an hour and a half for this spiel. I've taken enough whining. Where I have to remind folks who are watching, everybody here in this panel it is a sliding scale of what I may agree with them at any given point. But one thing I dang sure agree with, and I am proud to associate with them for, is they complain about they don't like media. I don't like a lot of the media that's out there. Mm-hmm. So what do? We create better, and it's selling. And my point with these middle companies that we know about, but the big guys really don't, the main public doesn't quite catch. Part of the reason that they're failing, folks, is because the independent creators like the people here, like Luke Stone, like T-Bunny, like Justin Sweet, like certainly Randy, are making better comics. The independent creator has outperformed, outmarketed, outsold, outproduced, and outcreated the guys who not only had years ahead of us and big money, but financial support. They still fail. And yet I see crowdfunds succeeding time and time again because we're out here making better stuff.
Well,
there's a part example right there in the chat of Mad Ruth. And, Mad Ruth, he created this comic because he hated what they did with Star Wars. And so he went, he's like, okay, well, they said, well, if you don't like Star Wars the way we're doing it, then just do your own. So he did his own. And he made a hell of a comic.
Man, it is a fun, very, I like the way Randy described it as a pulp, kind of with a B-movie flair, like that feel to it, but fun sci-fi. Just
Somebody
cool.
DM me the link to that. I want to see this property. I'm so
But what happened was because he expected he was going to sell in both the United States and Canada, he makes a mistake of wanting his disbursement from in American money to Canadian banks, and suddenly he was told that was okay, and then when he went to do it, they wouldn't do it, and so he's stuck there, and he's going to have to refund all of them thing, and but because he's in this community that who has each other's backs, he managed to land at Arrow 4.0, and so
not based on his community association, based on his quality.
No, based on the quality of the comic. Yeah, it's meritocracy all the way. But here he is. He's like, well, this is the I don't know what I'm going to do here, and somebody's like, hey, it's a really good comic. We'd love to handle that for you. Boom, he lands on his feet. But
heck, I'm handling his U.S. distribution for him. Fulfillment for the campaign. I mean, it's because the 98% of his campaign is all U.S. So everyone that had to pay extra shipping to get it from Canada, they're actually getting some extra in their package because we're saving on.
Well, shoot, let's
just
get
great
this guy
things
over here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got the link. He's got the link.
Right. Oh, I don't mean just the link. Let's get the guy. This is America, home of the free. We take the unwashed masses, the people who are not.
Mad Ruth, I put the link in the GC chat if you want to come on in, man.
Yeah, but
if you're doing a good product and you're a hard worker, see, this is what immigration should be. We should be reaching out like, hey, you rock. Let's get you over here. Yeah. And the people who want to work should be able to work regardless if they come from Mexico or Afghanistan or Canada or wherever, Right.
Welcome, folks, in the chat. What you have found is Nerd Bacon. This is where we
hello,
nice morning chat that we do. This is kind of a safe for work version. We've been talking about the bankruptcy, filing bankruptcy by Aftershock, and if this is now to get back to that topic a little bit, I believe this is the first of many dominoes, maybe the second of many dominoes to fall, because they're not doing what Nick just talked about, focusing on the reader. They're selling to somebody else, and they're allowing because of they're allowing the loud and obnoxious leftists to kind of create a narrative for them. They bow to those things, and what happens is they wind up suffering in their business. And here's the thing. It's about good storytelling. I don't care what your politics are. I don't care if you like Trump, hate Trump. I don't care if you went to the Capitol on January 6th. I want you to buy my comic. I want everyone to buy my comic because I made it for you. I made it for you. That's what it's all about. I want you to read it.
I want to say something here, Luke, because I am the liberal affectionately of this group. I've just been, in all reality, I'm a centralist watching people walk both ways from me going, can I please have sanity? But give me a constitutional centrist party and I'll vote for it every time. But if you voted for Biden, you'll still enjoy hybrids. Because when Luke says, I'm not putting a message in it, he's not putting a message for anybody in it except a well-written story where optimally, eventually, the good guys win, the bad guys lose, and they make a satisfying thump when they hit the ground.
Even if you are that gullible. There you go.
Hey, no. See, here's the trick, honey. Here's the trick. No. If you don't want to give money to people who degrade you, you can't degrade people who want to give you their money. And that's why I pull the reins, because there's a desire to lash back, and you never want to become the monster you're opposing.
No.
And it's real easy to, you voted for Obama, you don't know, blah blah blah. I don't care. I pick up a book and I read things by SJWs. If it's well written, I don't care. If the character has life things that don't apply to me, but the story is good and it's a commanding character. I read The Authority. I loved The Authority. That was a great title. And you want to talk homosexual
Midnighter and Apollo, we know.
Yeah, I mean, it's representation, but it was written right. It was written in such a way it fit the story and it made sense. I'm not looking for books that are the shock and awe of old school Kirk kissing Uhura for the first interracial kiss on television. I'm looking for books that have, if they want to date, it's fine because it's part of life, but it's not all there is. And that's what you find.
Unless it's that kind of comic book. But don't take my superheroes and turn them into like literal soap operas where there's no action. It's just, meeting up at a coffee shop and talking for hours. Issues. I mean,
that's not exciting. That's not exciting at all.
No, there's nothing exciting about that.
The indies are making non-superhero comics. Now, I love superhero titles. Don't get me wrong. But, guys, that's one thing the big guys aren't doing. They won't make a non-superhero title and support it with any real weight.
No, instead they're making superhero titles into non-superhero titles.
Right, yeah.
By default.
Right, and see, that's the thing. If I want to read Archie, I'll read Archie, and there's sometimes where I just want to watch, Frank Castle beat the tar out of a drug dealer. I hate to put it that way.
Yep.
But
putting through what you
black tar, brown tar or black tar.
Yeah.
I want to answer this question real quick. We will get into more about Fund My Comic at the end because we do have some. I have a couple major updates for that. Some things that I can talk about today. We are at this point, Allie. We are waiting on lawyers and bankers to get the final draft of terms of service before we can. When we say go live, what will happen is the site will then be available to me, and will be on the the internet, I guess is how you say it. Will the link to access it will be live once that is done, because I'm a client, so Surrendum can't release that to me until that's approved, because their lawyers or their banks are taking care of all of that. So you don't have to worry about Luke dealing with any of that stuff. This is professionals taking care of it. What I do is I have paid for it. I have bought the domain, and I am the face, and I get to run it once it's up. Todd and I, and then with some help from a few other people, Ray Haylock being one of them. So we are waiting on that paperwork to come back. That literally could be any day now. I mean, it could be today. We had hoped that it would be this week already, but it could be today that we get that paperwork back. As soon as we get that, the site will be live to us. We'll have a URL. What we will do, we'll go through the site first to make sure everything is ready that we want to present to you guys. And then we will attach the domain to it. And at that point, I will make sure that we're letting everyone know fundmycomic.com is live, okay? Right now, it is redirected to my Kickstarter, my Indiegogo, because it was originally the first comic that was going to launch there was that book anyway. And so we've been done with that. But yes, we are expecting that we will have access to allow people access to the site starting this week. Before Christmas is still the plan, but it may be next week, depending on lawyers and bankers. And you know how frigging slow they are, and that we're all chomping at the bit, the developer included. We cannot wait to get this out there because we know that you guys, we've created something just like Jeremy's Razors, because there was a need for it that was not being given to you. So we have created something. Fundmycomic.com will be the place for games and comics. That's what we're going to do. We're going to crowdfund all of that stuff. We are going to launch Out of Obscurity on that site as soon as it's ready. That's why we haven't had a sign up for it yet. Okay? Because we're just going to launch from there. We are also going to launch the RPG from there on the 10th. We're going to, yes, Lady Alley, you can do novels too. Honestly, you can crowdfund anything you want on there. But our market specifically is because of things that's happening with the shadow banning, things that's happened to Mad Ruth, things that's happening to Mike Barron, Frog G. We are sick of it. We are sick of it.
Look at that beautiful
and when you
face
oppress
over
us,
there. Look at that poor innocent face over there. Look how traumatized he is. That's what we don't.
When you oppress us, we rise up in a fiery anger. This is what happens. Is we didn't make this because, I didn't set out in 2022 to make a website. That was not my plan. When I came back into the scene in January from being in the hospital, I saw that there was that things were changing. This landscape was changing for independent comics and people who were Christians and conservatives. And I said, I'm going to have to make an alternative for myself. And in that process, knowing that I needed to have an avenue to the customers, from me to the customers. That's when we started doing this. And it grabbed the attention and energy of people bigger than me. And it's becoming what it is. And I'm grateful for everyone that is already ready to support it. Mike Barron is talking with his partner. Hopefully we'll be able to feature his books on the site. God bless America. I'm telling you, this is it. And just like the comic books, just like this book, I made this for you. I'm making a site for you too, people. This is for you. It's so that we can serve our customers better, and that is what it's all about. Yeah, Randy made a book for you. That's why we have errorcomics.store, so that we can have a direct connection to the customer. Randy can swallow his pride and put his tail between his legs, and he can go back and get back in Diamond tomorrow if he wanted to. But here's the deal. We see what's happening. We see that the market is even the comic book shops are only having new issues. They're not carrying a lot of indie, and they're moving to games and collectibles. Things are imploding.
I have to say something, and I apologize because it's horrific. But when you said Randy could tuck his tail between his legs, I thought that is physically impossible because his balls are just too damn big.
Right.
I am sorry. I normally don't go that vulgar, but I could
spoken like a man who's seen my balls.
Yes,
Just the
that's
shadow. You see, I live in Northwest Indiana, and every once in a while, Randy would stand up near the sunset, and there'd be this eclipse just wonk, blocking out part of the sun, and be like, "What is that?" So I asked my buddy Brian
which was safe for work.
and he's like, "Oh, that's Randy. I just do that sometimes." But
so here's the deal. No getting greedy like IGG. Look, we're only taking a 2% platform fee, and I've had people on this panel say you're crazy. Charge 3 or 4, and I'm like, no, because you know what? We don't need 3 or 4.
Principle.
We need 2%, 1% to cover the developer's time, and 1% to cover the three other people that are involved in this, and to try to recover our investment. It was a sizable investment. I took a lot of my severance pay from when the church closed, and I invested it in this. It's a gamble. It's a shot, but I feel like it's worth it. My wife and we prayed about it. Todd and his wife prayed about it, and we felt very confident this was something that we needed to do. But we are not charging more than 2% because you need to be able to keep your money, guys. You need to be able to keep your money because we understand how difficult it is already to fund a comic book. Okay, let alone having 5% of it taken from a platform that does not care for you. They will shadow ban.
Get that money back out. Am I right?
Yeah, they will shadow ban you, make it impossible for people to see you, and at the same time still take their 5%. That is not fair. That is not fair. Okay, we are not going to do that to you. It is not about greed. It's about making the site sustainable so that we can continue to grow and add features. When we launch in beta this month, there's going to be features that we want in there that aren't there yet, but all of the main features are going to be there. Before we close out, I'll talk about some of those features, some of the things that we have confirmed, and some of the things that we're still working on. Okay, but yeah, that's what we're doing.
Before we do anything else, we have a guest,
yes.
And I want to. Hi, Mad Ruth.
Hi.
Tell me who's going on. I'm the guy who doesn't know anybody.
Welcome to the party.
I'll ask the dumb questions. Who are you? What are you up to? And what brings you by our goofy part of the internet?
Well, for starters, I spent 26 years in the military. I did 2 tours in Afghanistan, 1 tour in Bosnia. Oh yeah, I love being in the military. Greatest time of my life was working with U.S. Army Green Berets. They were just the greatest. But I retired from the military June of this year. So my entire time in the military, I dreamed of writing after I retired. So I had Soul Tack in mind for about 15 years. That as my part of my retirement, that's what I want to do next with my life. It just so happened that this wokeism started happening around the tail end of my career, and I watched this develop, and it just fueled more and more of my reason to make my creation, to make my comic book. So the last 2 years while I was in the military, SJWism and wokeism even infiltrated the Canadian Armed Forces. And if you look up articles and stuff, you can see it. We now have soldiers with blue and pink and purple hair and all kinds of weird stuff shaved, and they can have everything in their face and stuff. Luckily, I got out before that started happening. But
practical. Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Kind of hard to hide from the enemy like that. But but so I secretly was making my comic the last 2 years and just doing what I needed to do to get my pension to retire. And like was mentioned, I created this because I watched The Last Jedi, and I felt so insulted as a lifelong Star Wars fan. It really bothered me. But it fueled my passion to do this. So I spent 2 years with my artist Gonzalo while we built our book. It's 88 pages of story, but the interiors are 92 interior pages. It's a beautiful book. Launched it on IGG, and the book did really well. I had 96 backers, but it's not enough for me to continue. Like, I was at an impasse. I realized there's a price point I needed to reach, and crowdfunding didn't do it, so I decided to approach the local comic community, which I'm aware exists. Same with the local comic book store owner. I used to have a pull box there until 2018. So they had their first ever Comic Con in New Brunswick. So I went there. I first bought tickets just as someone was just going to go see what everything was like. But they kept reaching out for volunteers, basically pleading for volunteers. So after about the 5th time, I said, fine, I'll do that too, even though I bought tickets. And they said, well, you can have free admission. I said, okay, I already got my ticket. Like, it's fine. They ended up having me run their ticket sales. I handled their money. relieve the artists, let the artists know when it was lunchtime, bring the artists coffee, taking artists to the supper. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I did everything. They kept telling me the whole time, you're the MVP of this thing. Like, you're incredible. You're amazing. I said, great. I just want a vendor table. That's all. I just want a vendor table.
Craig was just being himself.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just want a vendor table for myself when you do this again next year. No, absolutely. Absolutely. We can't wait. So about two hours before the last day of this thing, up comes the local comic shop owner that he's got a chain of comic shops. He comes up to me. He's like, you ever heard of Watergate? And I was just like, from the 60s? I know it's 1972, but he caught me off guard, right? So from the 60s? You know what I mean. And he walks away, right? And like, okay, whatever. That was weird.
What you're talking about? That's nuts.
Yeah. So the owner was right there, and the owner of the Comic-Con was there. He's, what was that all about? And I said, I don't know, man. All my customers are Christians and conservatives. I don't discriminate against anyone. And he's like, all right, never mind him. And I was like, okay. So long story short, I got on Twitter, and for whatever, first off, I put a disclaimer on all my social media because I knew this guy was obviously watching me. He knew who I was. So I just made it clear that, look, I don't discriminate against anyone. I don't care what your race, nationality, sexual orientation, or any of that stuff is. If you're cool with me, I'm cool with you, right? But on Twitter, somebody started getting in with me. So I just basically went through a rehash of what I just did right now, what happened at the comic convention, and boop, he pops into my Twitter feed. So it's like, oh, wow. Okay, so this is the guy. So I just go back and forth with him on Twitter a little bit. And I realized it was bringing attention because I've got, about 1,500 followers on Twitter.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
I still didn't want the owner of the comic convention to be affected by this because he was genuinely nice up to a point. He was nice right up to the end. So I took down everything related to this comic convention, trying to do damage control for him.
Right.
And I would have left it at that, but the comic convention released a denunciation of me as the volunteer that, we support diversity and inclusion, and this person we didn't know was engaged in a movement, and we will be enacting protocols to ensure this never happens. And I was like, whoa.
We also endorse diversity and inclusion, but that also includes thought, diversity and thought, and inclusion of thought.
Yeah. So after I read that again,
Can I just say
you just broke Nick. You broke Nick. Look at him.
Yeah.
Like
Nick is like, what is going on here? He's all like,
Hamalana.
I can
Hamalana.
hear it right here.
What it was.
From
A pile of
height.
Hamalana.
yeah.
Do you see any surprise on our faces, Nick? This has been going on. This is commonplace.
So you're the one, Mad Ruth. You were. I've heard all the scuttlebutt with the. I think John Delarose was talking about it.
Yep.
I think even Isaac Bell might have brought it up. And you and I've been following each other on Twitter for a long time. When I first entered this space, and so wow, man, my hat's way off for you, bro.
Ethan's got a funny video about it too. It's called like he gets them coffee and then he got blacklisted or whatever.
That was where I first heard it, and I didn't know that was you though. That is crazy, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I you know what I mean? It doesn't surprise me. Like, I was expecting something to happen at some point. That I'm actually kind of glad it did happen the way before I set up a vendor table and someone spits in my face or throws a drink at me or flips my vendor table. But we know this. We know this is what these people do, right? So, like I've been telling Luke, I think things happen for a reason because this went down the way it did. I realized I no longer had an avenue to sell where I am. I don't have access to local comic conventions. I don't have access to local comic stores. IGG banned me because of all the attention I got. They just banned my campaign. I may get my money out of IGG yet. We're still holding on by a thread. My latest message from them was that they could send the money to either of the bank accounts I told them, and I said, send it to my U.S. bank account. So I'm still holding out because
you might still get the money.
Yeah. And then I'm going to relaunch again on Fund My Comic because my book isn't active right now. And then from there, me and Gonzalo are excited to do the next floppy. We're going to start doing 30-page floppies now instead of trying to tackle an entire graphic novel.
That's right.
So
nice.
things are going forward, I finally got a way to continue telling my story, and I wouldn't have had it otherwise. So I'm so grateful.
And Craig,
Man, welcome
Randy
to
didn't know
Arrow.
about all this.
Oh my gosh, this is so
Randy
cool.
Didn't know about all that. Yeah, Randy didn't know about all the drama. I just said, hey, what do you think of this guy's book? Because I had asked for the PDF, and so I sent it over to Randy. He's like, well, it looks good. Let me read it, see what it is. And then I told him, I said he liked it, and he goes, well, and then I told him all the drama, and he goes, let's sign him up, man. Like this is a guy that he's had a rough go, and he needs good. He's
a member of the ex-zombie crew too, so he's got no F's to give either. So both of you are a nice pair.
What's zombie crew? Sorry.
Yeah. Both were in like comas at one point. Both of them at the same time.
Yeah, Randy and I. Yeah. Here's the deal. I mean, this
we didn't
sounds
even
not
meet
to
each
get all...
other while we were down. That's funny, man.
Yeah.
I probably went to a whole different place than Luke did.
Probably.
I got it now.
Now here's the deal. I'm not trying to go all weird, like goofy, spiritual on you guys, but I believe God spared Randy and I for a reason, and I honestly think that's for comics. Like I really do. I think Arrow right now is the reason why I believe that this is a path that he's got me on for a reason. I think that God made me cross paths with the people that I'm on this panel with right now for a reason, and so I'm doing my effort to do that.
Well, see, comics get like they're like painted as ephemeral, okay? But this is our hero fiction, okay?
Yeah.
This is our hero fiction. This is our Beowulf. This is our
modern mythology.
This is our modern mythology. These are our heroes. These are the ones that these poor little boys who are being raised by mamas and told that there's toxic masculinity. They got nothing to look up to in the culture right now. This is what they can look up to, and so it's vitally important we put this back into culture. It's vitally important. And if that's not the Lord's work, I don't know what is. So I'm just saying that.
What you have is an opportunity to help people. I get very, very. You have to be careful because too many people will co-opt faith as a tool for political agenda.
Yeah.
Even if they run parallel, we have to be careful to keep that. Give on to the Lord what is the Lord, give on to Caesar what is Caesar's. But the neat thing is, if you are doing good, I truly believe if you're doing good in the world, you're being kind. Now, kind isn't always nice. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is tell someone they're being an asshole. Because
that's why I love you, Nick.
Not to. And this is why occasionally some people dislike me. But
who would dislike you?
Oh, you'd be amazed. But
I would be.
The when I look at the one, why? Because I think a lot about why Luke was able to come back, why Randy was able to come back, and for Randy, it's very much a Christmas story in my mind. Randy has been on one path, and he's been given a chance to see where that path will likely lead him, and what he needs to do. And if we're gonna go on that route, we're gonna, occasionally I do. Occasionally I, Ray. Occasionally I do get a little preachy, and that's just because I have this bad habit of reading the book and believing in a philosophy of that's what love looks like. Real love looks like paying attention to people and supporting them and doing the right thing by people. That's what love looks like, and it shouldn't be. That is not unmasculine, and that is not. Loving and caring about folks is not something that they get to take.
Look at that book.
And loving good work isn't something. This is gorgeous art.
Yeah.
So since
we're going to move that arrow a little bit down for this volume, but
and Luke, may I commend you on the most subtle segue you've ever done to interrupt me in the middle of the tirade. That was gorgeous. No, we'll just drop a big image. It's the second one you've done today. Well done, sir. But
that's what I do. Look at these. You see what that is right there? Those are talking ferrets.
Oh yeah.
Okay, this is the title you were telling me about. Yes, I had not seen
That is a freaking orangutan with a Gatling gun.
I'm here for it.
See this, guys. Look at this. Look at this. This is what got me when I first saw it. I did a Luke Draws for this book, and I got a good chance to talk with Craig. Craig and I have become friends. We chat just about every day now, and I value his friendship, just like I do Nick's and Justin's and Bunny's and Randy's. I value you guys' friendship. This right here was an option to draw that character, and I was like, oh, I can't do that in an hour and a half. I can't do that justice in an hour and a half. That character alone, I'm like, I want to read the book for this. This is why I want to know more about this guy. He is freaking awesome.
You might be cool, but you're not a orangutan with a Vulcan minigun cool. So
no, you're not.
I'm going to admit one of my biases. I love, from the bottom of my heart, when veterans write books with combat in it, because it's not fantastic to them. You know, I have this. I talk about expertise being something that we try to forget in America a lot. We've tried to eliminate expertise so that opinion can override it. But if you want to know the visual aspects, ask somebody who's done it. So thank you. I find that.
Well, I mean, Justin, he's a combat veteran, and so is Hojo, and both of them got books coming out. So.
Yep.
And those are books I like. Huh.
Oh man, I'm telling you, 2023 is going to be great for comics. I think I'm really happy to be able to provide a platform for you guys to be able to crowd from without worry and concern. I think that we need to make our stuff and make it better. Absolutely. I think we need to make bigger and better. I think what you're going to see from Arrow Comics coming out next year, The Fool is coming. The pages are getting colored, and
don't spoil
Patrick.
It.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not going to spoil it, but
don't spoil it. Boy, does it look?
Please don't, because you are.
Man, does it look good?
I saw
my
page
gosh,
6
does it look
today,
good?
and I'm like, oh, this is going to be a great book.
My gosh, does it look good?
Oh my
I'm telling you, everything is leveling up, and we don't mean leveling up because it got into previews. That's not leveling up. Leveling up is creating a better product for the customer and finding new and more creative ways to diversify the ways we can get the product to the customers and the ways that they can interact with it. That's why we have an RPG coming out. And you know what? Next year, my third business will be started. Nick and I are partnering for Lockdown Games, and we're going to have a series of Base Plus 2 games out. The Base Plus 2 system, guys, I'm going through making the charts. Steve Dye from Rocket, does Rocket Magazine, is doing is helping with our layout and stuff. And he is doing a great job. And it's a beautiful book, guys. It's beautiful. But the mechanics and the content, it's better than anything I've read in a role-playing game in a long time. This is going to be a feather in Nick's cap. And here's the best part. The Base Plus 2 system, you can license out from Nick. He'll build a module for you. And so I think Nick's going to be very busy in 2023 making role-playing games for a lot of people. And the best part is a lot of the charts we've already got pre-made now. So we can just plug in new things with it, which is great news. But yeah, very exciting times coming up. I'm excited about this, Craig. The book looks great. One way or the other, your customers are going to get taken care of. Like, that's going to happen.
I was laughing about something, Luke, and I want to share. Because I woke up this morning, I was thinking about doing the show. And whenever I think about the show, my mind goes to the RPG. And it hit me. For years, all the kids sit around, we all did as kids, Superman versus Batman, so-and-so versus so-and-so. It's literally my job to be able to give you that answer.
Yeah.
How weird is, that just, it was an epiphany I walked into in the middle of my hallway. My job right now is to go, oh, if so and so is fighting so and so, I can tell you, yeah, they probably win in an arm wrestling contest, but in a fight, so and so don't know.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And how cool! I mean, it's just cool, and I love that I get to just unabashedly do something so geeky as I get paid to decide what superhero's going to win.
Yeah.
Robert Bruce.
Space Monkey got nefarious too. Our next thing that I want to talk about is this is next to the last show for the year, and will probably be one of our more watched shows. And so I wanted to, as we're looking at next year.
I need to go out, guys. I'll talk to you later.
Okay, that's fine.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Thanks for
Have
being
fun.
here.
Bye.
So, as we're going into this next year, here's the thing: you don't know if you're promised tomorrow or not. And Randy and I came as close as we could to death without dying. In fact, I believe they had to bring Randy back twice.
Yeah.
I never got to that point. My road was a little more, had a few more bumps in it, in other ways than that, but they never had to actually bring me back.
Is this a list of the artists that have, or the comic people that have passed?
This is comic people that have passed
year?
in 2022.
Where is
so what
this
I want to
at?
do, this is over at weheartmusic.typepad.com. There's a long list,
wow.
But it's comic book creators who died in 2022.
Yeah, I was
what
going
I
to
want
say.
to do is I want to. There's a long list. There's almost 100 people that we lost this year in comics, and I just want to take
my
a moment.
apologies for having to duck out.
That's fine.
There are a lot of new people in chat. Occasionally, because I am the primary caregiver for my autistic son. That's why I don't work outside of the home. I have to occasionally just dart out. That's not anything on any new guests or the subject. If I ever disappear that way, either it's my internet crashing or I'm taking care of my kid.
Yep.
But
Your family comes first. Family comes first.
We should probably cover this next week.
Yeah, we'll cover this in greater detail next week. But in case you guys can't make, because I know it's the week between Christmas and New Year's is a huge travel week. Next week we'll talk about this more, but I just want to take a moment to recognize briefly those that have contributed to this great art form called comic books. And we love comics because, I often say comics made me, now I make comics.
Yep.
And these are people that contributed to my love of the art form and my respect of the art form. This is not just a way for us to sell movies. This is a way for us to make a lasting impact on people. My hope is that one day someone will be reading that right now today, some kid is reading Hybrids and they fall so much in love with the characters that one day they decide they want to make their own comic book, and they do that. And then they inspire another generation to do the same. That is, I think, the greatest gift that we can give people is to help inspire them to carry on a tradition. And that's why I'm glad to be a part of Arrow Comics and a part of comics in general. But we lost a lot of people in 2022. We lost Robert Bruce, who was well known from the Comic Book Man as a collector and a pretty much an aficionado. I'm just going to go through. I won't read all the names, but a lot of them will stand out. We lost Ron Gillard. Writers. Gotham by Gaslight writer.
Brian Augustyn.
Now that one, if you have not seen that as an animation,
it's so
good. I think it's on Paramount.
And if you haven't read that book, you're missing out on
the book is phenomenal. But they actually did a great animation of that, because that's one thing DC has done right lately. They do better cartoons than they do books.
Yeah. Animal Man writer. And this is all over. Spanish comic book author, Argentine.
That's tragic. She's 40. The 40 ones are the ones that get me.
Yeah.
I hate to see when somebody in their 80s or 90s dies. Like when Dick Van Dyke passes, it's gonna mess with me. But when somebody like Miyakumi, who is a fairly famous in manga circles artist passes at 42.
Yep.
Gary Leach, okay.
Gary Leach.
Yeah.
Yep.
Justin Green.
It has been a rough year for
It has been a
sequential
rough
artists.
year.
Yeah.
Neil Adams.
Of course.
Sepsis. George Perez. That one hit me hard, guys.
George Perez hit
that
a
one
lot
hit
of
me
people
real hard.
Yep.
That one hit me so freaking hard. In fact, I'm choking up thinking about it. Ken Kelly, great artist.
I didn't even know Tim Sale passed. I missed that one.
Yeah. Kidney failure.
Also a big one. Yeah. Sid Jacobson.
R.C. Harvey.
That's the guy I laughed at who offered me a Marvel apprenticeship.
Yeah. Writer for Judge Dredd, Alan Grant passed.
He's
Ron
a writer for a
Zimmerman.
lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff.
He's really good.
Yeah.
Cousin Ron. Not
Tom
really.
Palmer.
I take no. I'm not related to him at all.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've lost a lot of tremendous talent. And here's the thing: with every passing, there's an opportunity for someone out there to become the next George Booth, or the Kevin O'Neill.
Yeah.
You have the opportunity to do that, and be thankful that you have your family and that you have your
Kevin
life and
O'Neill.
breath this year.
Yep. Kevin Conroy.
Jason David Frank, suicide. I literally just saw him the week before his suicide. I was at a convention with him, and he was happy, and I heard him talking to the fans, and he thanked them. God, I'm sorry. He thanked them for loving what he was a part of and encouraged them to do what he did. And he was hurting so bad inside. I feel bad that I'm a pastor. I could have helped him, but I didn't know. It was rough. That one hit me hard too.
Yeah.
And the last one we lost was on the December 15th. Calpernio, Spanish comic book artist, an illustrator, died at 63. I'm sorry, guys. I got super emotional there.
Well, it happens, Luke. It's.
Well, I care about this art form, and I care about the people that do it. I care about the people that contribute. They're not. When I was a kid, they were nameless and faceless. Even if I knew a name, I didn't.
Yeah.
They were their art. They were, to me, like when I thought of Chris Claremont, I thought of Gambit. When I thought of Jim Lee, I thought of Batman. When you see these characters, they become the art they produce, and I know for some people, I'm hybrids. I'm Trash Man. Or I'm Rep. I'm one of those. When they see those characters,
most people I've found of the fans do your Trash Man because of the physical, like
because of the beard.
The beard and the way your hair is cut and everything else.
Yeah.
You have a certain Trash Man-y appearance.
I actually started cutting my hair like that because I drew Trash Man for so long. I subconsciously said, "Yeah, just give me the fade," and then I realized someone was like, "Why'd you get your hair cut like Trash Man?" I'm like, "Did I? I didn't realize that." So yeah, I've been getting the haircut like that for a couple of years now. But yeah, so it's been a rough year for comics. The loss that we've had, just some of the content coming out. But I think that we've got a great year ahead of us.
It takes a certain amount of darkness to recognize a light that's incoming. Okay, and because of how dark certain things are, I like I said, I see, going all the way back to the main conversation, many of the middle-sized companies in comics are going to fail right now. A lot of things are going to fail right now.
Yeah,
and that is okay. That's part of the scary part of capitalism. Ooh, I'm using that C word again. Businesses sometimes fail, And I'm looking at it because I ask myself why. And I really have come to poor business practices, the economy being this bad, and the third branch is the fact that all these independent creators are doing it without needing their framework. So and I think that's going to be the trend post lockdown. The middlemen of the world got identified as unnecessary.
Is that true, Craig? Do you get scared by the word capitalism? Not this.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
I love meritocracy and capitalism. That's my
meritocracy.
Belief.
I actually in college got pulled aside by my professor because they asked me what would be the optimum form of government without using democracy, because they're like, you have to not. They were trying to get us to think outside the box, and I said the mob, and the whole room went silent. I said, no, it's a meritocracy with extreme punishment for failure, so you are more likely to find where you're very good and stay there. Our current system, if you're very good, they take you beyond what you're good at. So it'd be, in military terms, there's some guys who are great with a squad. They have no business leading a battalion, but they're hell on wheels with a squad. I hate to say it, Napoleon. Napoleon was a great guy with infantry. But once you started getting other tactics, it didn't work that way. Same thing happened for Hitler. He had no idea how to use air power. And, and I'm seeing these as great tactical blunders through advancement of people beyond what they're comfortable for. I'm not condoning any of those guys. But that meritocracy is the system. And what with the independent comics, that's what we have right now. It is a capitalistic function. It's a capitalistic system with a meritocracy function. To make the other part work, you have to be good at what you do. If you don't, you either aren't good at what you do, or the pillars of product, sales, and support. And I sound real businessy. That's where my expertise is on the side. That's one of my minors. That's what builds the comics. And you'll get where you don't want to support the fans. Well, if you don't support the fans, the table falls over. That's what's happening across the board. It's real simple. You're not supporting the fans. In the middle, they're not supporting the business side properly. If you're overextended because you're spending other people's money, it's going to fail. And all of them will fail because the product stinks. And that's why I looked at Mad Ruth's book and I'm like, I can see a story from that image. I can see the conflict. I can see the story. I can get if I were looking at a pile of books, that's one of those I want to pick up and find out more, because the back of my mind's like, I want to find out more.
Yep.
I've tried going to comic shops. And since most of them are RPG and comic shops, I'll go over and get some Magic cards. Maybe look at the overpriced D&D stuff, go, I'm making better. Yeah, I said it. Come at me. And then I'll look at the comics. And it kills me. It kills me to see titles that used to have really great stories not having great stories. It both kills me and it inspires me, because I look at it and go, I could do better artistically. About a year ago, I couldn't close my hands farther than this. Start of this year, I could barely pick up my own cup because I have nerve damage I've been fighting. Right now, I can do better than a lot of what I was seeing artistically. That's not me being bullshit. That's God's honest truth. You could ask Luke; he sees my art all the time.
Yep.
So instead of being annoyed at it, I switched gears, because I used to be pissed. I used to look and go, "This is junk art." So just put it back down, and it's like, if you can do better, do better. If you have to work, that's fine. If it takes you a couple years to get your writing or your layouts or whatever where it needs to be, if you need to talk to people, do it. But if you're looking at the media, and it sucks. That's 2022 has been a year for me, and this is a little lead up to what I think will be a good discussion for next time, of looking at the last, especially 2 years, kind of processing everything that went wrong at the end of 2019 through 2020's insanity, through 2021, the year we all want to kind of forget because we were punch drunk from 2020, and going, wait a second, I have cataloged what's wrong. What in my life abroad, what in my life, artistically, literary, media-wise, can I do to fix it? And, a bunch of us have been working behind the scenes through most of 2022, I suspect, and you got shanked. Craig, is it? I'm
Yes,
sorry, I'm horrible with names, and everybody has at least two around here. It's like I have to go by mine, or else I'd forget my own handle. But we all looked at it, and I talked to people. It's like, well, I spent 2022 working on this project, and maybe a lot of books are getting published right now, and novels, stories, because I'm more in more spheres than most of the people around here. I associate with the novelists. I associate with game designers. I kind of get a little farther out. And what you're seeing in the independent comics is happening everywhere. Everyone is sick of being lied to about the staircase to success and being lied to about what success is. And I think across the board, people took 21 and 22 and went, no, because lockdown gave everybody a chance to stop away from the rat race and think. And that's the one thing, the mass consumption market, that we get shoved every time we turn on the TV, buy. This is what's cool. If you don't like it, you're wrong. All that stuff. We broke loose of that. And the creators are like, I'll just create what I want, whatever it is. And instead of supporting the big guys, we're supporting the little guys. So literally the money that goes to these middle range guys who don't have enough to support and have kind of been getting by on the money of passionate people, because Savage Dragon, isn't a title that is exactly a household name,
Yeah.
It was a great title. It was
good. It was good. And now the creators kind of got off the rails, but
that's what we see. The creators have gone off the rails for whatever reason, and now we're getting this surge of quality stuff that's coming out from tiny businesses like Luke's, and not quite so tiny, but they're like Arrow 4.0, where people are coming together, and it's almost more like the artists are unionizing and saying, no. Why do you think AI art is having the surge right now? Because the big guys are terrified. They can't, if the artists are doing it themselves and getting paid, they don't need a big company. They don't need the whole system of middle management that siphons off money.
Well, I want to point something out. So, Alterna Comics, Peter Simeti left Diamond because Diamond was giving him the runaround with stuff, and now runs a business, still full-time, that crowdfunds and does direct-to-customer market through his website. That's how you get alternative comics now. You don't get them from Diamond. In fact, one of my local shops, he gets comics directly from publishers on the regular. In fact, he says, I prefer to do that. It's cheaper for me. The books show up on time. They show up not damaged. And he gets them when he pays for them. Because here's the thing. Diamond has been taking money from the retailers and taking months to ship things. And what they'll do is when you place your order for something, it may be a certain price retail today, or their price today. But by the time they finally ship it, the price might have gone up and they charge you that new price, not the price you ordered it at the price it sells for today. And I'm lucky enough to have friends that own shops, and they are, I've heard two personal friends that are shop owners say if they never had to deal with diamond again, they wouldn't. That says a lot, guys. That says a lot about our future. Now, I want to take a couple minutes now to talk about just some things with Fund My Comic, because it's coming. It's going to be a new way for you to crowdfund and to distribute your books. At some point in the future, I'm going to include a retail feature for this thing, but it's down the road. It's probably phase 3 or phase 4 for this thing. But I want to let you know what is happening. We're waiting on the lawyers. There was a question earlier about payment processing, how that works. Stripe is the system that we use to process the payments, but the money goes into Surrendum's bank account that they have set up for this venture. Okay, so the bankers, that's why we're having trouble getting the final bit of terms of service, because the banks want to make sure everything is secured and there's no problem with funds or the releasing of funds. Okay, we are working on how we do conversions to other countries and what countries will be allowed in the initial setting, but eventually we'll get to where everyone can crowdfund and there won't be a problem. Initially, we're going to have some limitations just because of just how banks work. Like, you can't send money from the US to Canada. They don't like it. They don't, you can't convert. Canada won't convert it once it's in their account. You have to convert it beforehand. And it doesn't work like that for a lot of US companies. So there will be things that we have to work out with that, and that will come over time. But what initially is going to happen, well, not initially, this is the way it'll happen. When you create an account with Fund My Comic, an escrow will be created for you. That's part of the process, all right? This is automated for Indiegogo. It is not automated for us because we will have a manual approval process, because we want to make sure two things: that your campaign will be successful, so that it's set up right. We will give advice on things that might need to be edited to make it more successful, and that it gets categorized properly so that we can include it into like a buy one back one type feature where, hey, if you like this book, you may like this book here because it has many of the same themes and things like that. So we've got those kind of things that we're working on. To begin with, it will all be manual approval, so this can be successful. And two, so that we know creators aren't making multiple campaigns and not fulfilling, because we want to have trust with the fans, the readers, as much as we want to have trust with the creators. So we're not going to allow people that have multiple unfulfilled campaigns to run multiple unfulfilled campaigns on Fund My Comic. We want people to know that if you fund there, you're going to get your books, okay, or your games. And part of that is, so when we do the approval, an escrow will be created for you. That money from that campaign is immediately taken from the credit card that is used and goes into that escrow. So the money is immediately held and it's there for you. Upon which time your campaign funds, then we release the funds to you. Now we'll have the option to release before your campaign ends, because we're not going to have a typical in-demand feature. The campaign doesn't close until you close it.
Sorry, that was me.
Okay.
My apologies.
Yeah, the campaign doesn't close until you close it. So it is you determine, and we're also going to allow you to adjust your goals, because you may realize halfway through, I need more money than what I've asked for, or I don't need as much, and you can adjust your goal. Those adjustments will be public knowledge to everyone, so you can't just float your goal around. All right? Now we're going to limit how often or how much you do that, because we want it to be above board. So money's taken right away. You set your close date on when your campaign closes. Now here's the thing. After you've reached your funds, that's when disbursement will take place. The campaign can stay open indefinitely, so you can leave it on as an in demand. So you can run an indefinite campaign waiting and just wait until you get the funds, so then the funds can be released to you and you can start making your comic book, if that makes sense. So that's how we're doing this initially, because it gives you more freedom to fund your comic. That's really what it comes down to, is you having freedom to fund your comic. We're also not going to have a secret tier option, but we are going to have a coupon code option, because this is set up much like a store. Rather than have separate tiers that will be where you've got to include multiple things, it'll be set up a la carte. Because we've heard a lot of backers say, man, it would just be easier to see what the add-ons are before I hit that next thing. You know, if I could just choose what I want to buy, that would be great. And so that's what we're creating. So when you create your account and you create your tiers, you can set up your tiers to show up any way that you want them to. By featured, by alphabetical, or by dollar amount. You can reverse that and that kind of stuff. So you determine how your tiers are shown, but you can create multiple tiers where they just add to a shopping cart. And then you can give your email list a coupon code, which they put into the shopping cart, which discounts their orders. You can set certain items to be discounted, other items not to be discounted. That's how that works. So we'll be able to offer those features with that as well. We are, let me see what else. We're not going to have a sign-up sheet initially, but what it's going to be, you're going to build your campaign and you'll set your launch date and your end date. So people will actually be able to browse your campaign before it launches. That's how we're going to have it set up. So you can give that link, it'll go directly there. They will not be able to purchase or back until it goes live, but it will automatically go live when you've got that set or when you decide to turn that on. So they will actually be able to browse and decide what their buying is going to be. So you can have a very successful launch night because people will already know what you're going to have available and how much it's going to be and how much of each item you have, so that you can really nail those things and make those launch parties just absolutely fantastic. So that is how we're doing this thing. It is going to be a lot different than Kickstarter. It is going to be a lot different than IGG. It is, I mean, this is going to be everything that I think those two platforms are not, because this is built, literally the features that we're adding to this thing came from the community. We did a survey on Twitter, and the things that you asked for, we gave to the developer. And Dave is his name, the guy that owns the company. And they instituted all but 2 of those features. The other 2 features will be in the next iteration of the site, once we are able to do some more upgrades to it, because those features take longer to implement. So that's what's going on, guys. Fund My Comic any day now. We will have a site ready for its kind of final look over before we attach the domain, and you can start creating your campaigns on fundmycomic.com. I'm telling you, this is exciting times. Some of you will have links to create your accounts before the domain is attached. Okay, so you can go ahead and start familiarizing yourself with the site and start building your campaign, because we want to have some of these campaigns live, or not live, but at least somewhat posted when we go live. I'm so excited, guys. I'm like a little kid. It's literally Christmas for me. Just so happens to coincide with Christmas, so it's very exciting. I'm gonna get to some of these questions. So we do have a few questions here. You can pretty much fund anything on it. Yes, you can fund anything on this that you want. We are specifically looking at comics and games because that's our niche market, right? But you can fund a novel on this. You can fund literally anything that you want. It will work just like Indiegogo and stuff like that. We will not stop you from funding those things on there. Just know that you'll be sending them to fundmycomic.com, which, may not be the best place to fund, I don't know, what are some of the things they fund? Like exercise material, equipment, right? because they're not going to be looking for that kind of stuff there. But it is going to be specific, so comic people can find comics there. Hey, I think I'm going to have to check it out. Okay.
Are you saying that comic creators don't exercise?
I do.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all.
I do.
I mean, if you look at a guy like Graham Nolan, clearly he exercises. Will it have a counter that shows how many backers? Yes, you'll be able to know how many people have backed it. There's also going to be a very clear thing. Backers were saying, I want to know easily if I've backed a campaign or not. So they're putting into the UI that you can easily see if you've backed a campaign once you go there, so that you're not double and triple backing by accident. You can double and triple back if you want to, but not by accident. Okay, you're gonna have to do that. Like you'll know. So we're making that very, very, very easy for you. How is your algorithm based on campaigns similar to the Projects We Love thing they do on Kickstarter? Here's the thing: we're doing a staff pick section. So staff will, hey, I really like this book. We think you should check it out. And so we'll have some staff picks, but we've got a really fun feature that we like a lot. So here's how we're able to offer a 2% platform fee and still make some money on top of this. Twitch has this thing where you can boost a stream and allow it to get more views or get more recognition in the algorithm. We're going to have a very similar thing for, instead of a website tip that is like automatically put in there by Indiegogo, we're going to have the option where you can boost a campaign. You click at checkout whether or not you want to boost the campaign for, I believe it's going to be a $5 tip, right? So what it is, for $5, you can send that creator's campaign to the featured page, okay? So they get more eyes right away when people visit the website. That $5 does go to the website, okay? We're totally transparent on that. It goes to us to help us operate, but it benefits the creator. It's not like Indiegogo where you're tipping the website, but it does not benefit the creator. We wanted to have a system, and the great Ray Haylock is the one that figured this out. Okay, he's like, why don't we do this? And so we're going to have that feature, which is pretty exciting, I think, for what we're doing. That's how we're going to do that. And the more difficult thing is if you like this campaign, we're going to have other ones that have similar tags, like, oh, this is a book about frogs. Okay, well, my book has a frog in it. And so people, if they like anthropomorphic comics, then you can put in there it's anthropomorphic. And
otherwise known as furries.
Well, not, and it's not all furries, because Tales from the Anniverse, anthropomorphic, but it's not furry. Furry talks about porn. Now, we can't have furry porn. We can't have any porn, okay? We can't do porn because the banks right now, we don't have the go-ahead, the legals to be able to do that. It requires different things that you have to do to actually do pornographic material, because it could involve children or people that are underage or acts that are illegal. So we can't allow porn on the site. But you can show titties, you can show violence, you can have bad words, all that you want in your campaign to present it, but there will be an 18 plus ticker. All you have to do is say this is for 18 plus. And that way users can filter in whether or not they want to see that when they create their account to go in to be able to purchase books or to back books. They choose what they see. So it's we've got this with the creator in mind, but also the reader in mind. I back a lot of books, guys. You guys back a lot of books. Everybody does. We're customers. We're fans as much as we are creators ourselves. And we listen to our fans, people that bought our books and people that bought your books out there. And we've taken all of your feedback to try to make a site that's going to be ideal for you. Again, it's I'm excited about it because it does something that not a lot of other crowdfunding campaigns or sites do. That's a great feature. It's more fair, as you have to run through hoops, I believe it says, to even get on Kickstarter's hotspot list. Yeah. So you don't have to worry about that.
You gotta be friends with their people.
Yeah, you gotta be friends with their people. Now, again, like I said, there will be a staff pick, and the staff right now is 3 people. It is myself, it's Todd, the other partner, and then Ray Haylock is going to be heavily involved in this thing, and he's going to help people even set up their own personal websites to sell their comic from. Because at some point, we do believe in fierce independence, and we want you to be independent from this website. At one point, my dream is to include a way that you guys can opt in to a retailer option where retailers can come on and buy books that have successfully funded at a discount rate in bulk, and people can opt into that. And what we want to do is we want to have that as a print-on-demand feature, where we actually set up with a printer that can print those books and ship those books to the retailers when they place the orders, so that you don't have to have books on hand. So we're trying to I'm wanting to work all of that out in the future. So that's something Luke's working on, not the developers. So Luke's working on how that might work, how we could implement something like that. But down the road, phase 3 or 4, we're going to try to do something like that so we can do more of a distribution and maybe not try to compete with Diamond, but to allow independents a way to get into retailers that do want to sell their books. Because there are retailers out there that do want to support indie comics, and we want to support them as much as we can. And so we want to include that, incorporate them into our process. So that's what we're working on. And yes,
so I know
you
you
can
talked
go
to
fundmycomic.com. Fundmycomic.com right now is redirected to my Indiegogo campaign, but it will soon be directed to its website. So fundmycomic.com is what you're going to want to bookmark. Okay. And if you do a stream, we would be happy to come on and talk about it too. Go to my website, lukestonestudios.com, message me, or go to Twitter, Luke Stone Studio, message me, and we'll work all that out. I can get you graphics and stuff like that for the website. All right. Anything else here? Whoa, okay.
Well, you said you were talking, I know you're talking to Pixel, right, about some integration,
Yes.
some API integration for the site, and that's for Indicron. Have you thought about reaching out to the main guy for global comics, for digital comics?
We have thought about that, and what we want to do is that's probably going to be at some point next year. I'm going to try to make that meeting happen, where we can, include them, because they're doing digital and doing a darn good job at selling digital comics right now.
Well, they're also doing print on demand, including like special covers and all kinds of stuff. He had
very nice.
a test project, like I don't know, about a month ago, that was like a black light cover, and so it was, glow in the dark kind of thing. It looked really good too. But he said he hadn't worked out everything between him and the printing company. So I don't know. It might be something, even if for nothing else, but to find out how they're integrating that, and maybe that'll help you out. So.
Yeah. So those are all in the future. Right now, our plan is to create a nice, safe home for you to crowdfund your comic without fear of your politics getting in the way of people's safety and whatever they call it.
Trust and safety.
Trust and safety. This is
Oh
this is for you
yeah,
to do.
75% of the company that got dropped from Twitter, it still seems to be okay.
Yeah.
How is it more? It's still more stable than Facebook.
Yeah, the major complaint I hear from IGG backers is that some creators don't deliver. Even if the platform is informed, they continue to allow these guys to do campaigns. Again, that's why we're doing, if they're not fulfilling, they're not going to be able to continue to build campaigns on Fund My Comic. We're only going to allow 2 unfulfilled campaigns at a time. So if you want to make a third campaign, you have to fulfill that first campaign. You can only have 2 unfulfilled at a time. I think that's fair. I don't think, I'm looking at my own model with that. There's no reason to have multiple unfulfilled campaigns. And I'm looking at some of the big guys on that one. If you're a publisher, I get it. Now, if you're a publisher, we may make some exceptions for you, because if you're running campaigns for 4 or 5 different creators, we understand that. But we will not be allowing people to take advantage of backers through the campaign. We will not allow that to happen, because that's part of the trust factor. We want to have complete trust in the platform from creators and backers, from people that actually use it to give you money to make your comic. We want to make sure that all of that is completely taken care of there. Okay, guys? And I may wind up being an a-hole to people. I can't believe that you're not letting me. Look, take care of your customer. It is reader first. That is our function, and that is our purpose.
File 13. this is one thing I encourage on all my broadcasts. If you watch me on anything, please ask questions.
That's why we do
really,
live streams, so we can
because
answer them.
we're out here. This isn't just like a shill show. There are a lot of shows out there. They read you through some creators Kickstarter. Look, here are the tiers. Okay, and it becomes Home Shopping Network. That is not what we're about. Because if it was, I wouldn't waste my time here. Hey, you know what I'm saying? That we're about helping creators get better, connecting nerds together, both to have a good time and to make better product.
Yeah.
Can I have the floor for a bit, Luke? Are you
Take
done?
Take it. Yeah, I'm done.
Okay.
Take it.
I want to talk about another project that just launched that is so in the spirit of Nerd Bacon and what's going on. One of my other business partners, a gentleman by the name of Joe Bachman. He has made a couple apps for my games. He runs Joe Bach Technologies. It's a little tiny startup where he's doing coding and things. He's also my webmaster. He has set up a website called IndieCD, INDIECD.org. It's the Independent Creator Directory, because with social media becoming problematic and having host pages, you can get banned, you can get dropped. It's so easy to be on Facebook, share something somebody shared at you, and then you're banned for 30 days and you have no business connections with everybody. So he set up something where authors and writers and coders and game designers can have basically a little profile, all your links, and if you want to shop small, which is something I'm all about, that's the hardest thing, isn't it? When you want to buy something and you want to buy from independent creators, if you don't know them, how do you find them? So he's been making this, and right now it's very tiny. It's just getting started. But for a low flat fee, you get a permanent page on there where you can put your information, some Bachman Talkert Overdrive, yes, your links. It just puts it all in one place where you can search for. Say you're searching for colorists. Eventually, you'll be able to type in colorists, and it'll be a list of colorists with their links, without Google screening it for you, without Facebook saying, or IGG, well, we don't like this person because of their politics. Anybody can go there, to the best of my knowledge. They said, oh god, no, you know what? It's not www. That's the trick. Just go. There's no www. No.
I did it without the www, and it still says it.
Is it crashing again? Let me see if I can get it to come up. Independent.
I'm looking at the.
Because the thing is, he's building it and working on it right now, so it may just be what's going on. Because I was on there earlier today. Anyway, I'll be talking about this a lot because there's been too many people who get. Yeah. Okay. So he's literally. He has a day off. If it's down, he's building on it some more. So I will be announcing it more and talking more about it. Just keep it in mind. I think right now he's asking like $5, just so that
it's
he has
$10.
enough to.
It's $10 for a lifetime involvement in the site. Yours truly has joined. Yours truly has jumped into that. So yeah, I'm
in there.
I'm all for it. Yeah. Any place I can have my.
And it's safe. Well, can you share your link? Is the link directly to you working right now?
I'm gonna put it in the chat right now. Oh man, I'd have to do all that.
Oh no, accidentally self-promote. But and of course, this is a brand new service that's trying to get its feet under. But the purpose of it literally is what I'm about, which is helping the little guys get started. You know, if all I ever end up is a footstool to help people level up a little bit more in whatever they're doing, I consider my life a success. That's what I'm about. You know, I have some of my own passions. You know, I've got novels and games, and I'm going to finally put out a comic of my own, possibly in 2023, because it's on my checklist. But it's more important to help people. And
Yeah,
I know Glenn has
it's not up right
the whole
now.
site.
He's working on it. Yeah.
So he's working on it, and I am sorry that that's going on right now. I figured he would be.
But bookmark it. Bookmark it. It will be available.
Bookmark
I also
it.
put in the icd.joebachtek.com, so you can actually also link it from his site. I think it's going to be a good deal. It's a very low fee to have lifetime involvement in the site, and he'll continue to update it. I actually have to answer some questions.
The only reason that he's asking that is to just he hopes to get enough to cover domain costs and things like that. He's not trying to make anything.
Yeah, hosting a website's expensive.
Fancy. So it's going to be a big deal. I'm going to be talking about more as it succeeds. Frankly, this is a little embarrassing for me. I kind of feel like Elon breaking the window on his Tesla, but I really want to encourage folks to go to that, and more importantly, I want to encourage people to have the mentality of the independent creator directory of Fund My Comic, where we have to get to a point where if we want good things in the world, period, we have to do it ourselves. There's a saying that you know, one of the most defiant, rebellious things you can do in the world, at least in America right now, is plant a garden in your front yard. You know, because that's saying you don't want to. I am sorry that site's crashing, Ali. He must have it down for maintenance because he's trying to do some really cool things with it. But
yeah, and he's got to get my stuff up there.
Yeah, that's honestly, that's probably what he's doing, is trying to make sure Luke's stuff works and everything is working, because it's just coming out. But I wanted to get that out there because it's a good service. And like I said, that's not somebody trying to make a bunch of money off creatives. It's trying to help creatives make money. And I have this crazy theory: money should flow toward the creator, not away. So the writer, the artist, you know, if you're putting out material, it's not right that so many people try to get you to pay to put out your own material, you know? And that's where you can tell there are parasites in the system. And it's funny, COVID had a miraculous side effect. It killed off the middle management parasites. I mean, I hate to put it that way, but it killed off that profession where, you know, you can work from home, send it to your boss. You're accountable for your work because they can fact check it. You're not going through 15 middle managers whose only job is to growl at you like a middle school teacher. And that's what the future should be. And I'm working really, really hard to promote that wherever we can. That's why I do these shows. And I broadcast 4 days a week, 5 times a week, scheduled, with a whole lot more other. And I'm not making money on most of it at all. I'm out trying to help folks. Thank you, Ali.
Thank you. Yeah, we appreciate the endorsement. So yeah, we've been working hard. A lot of people have been working hard. Mad Ruth, I know Justin is working hard. We are doing the Out of Obscurity anthology that's going to launch. We've got Hybrid's full manual RPG coming out. Chrome Dog will be launching here soon. I'm just lettering the pages now. So
sweet.
Yeah. So it's on the to-do list. I know Buddy's been working hard. He's had some issues, and I know I'm not going to speak on those because it's but man, when I get the thumbs up from Buddy that I can talk about it, ooh, it's going to get spicy because I have a lot of opinions. And I'm ready to defend my friend in this thing. And so, but anyway, it's he's working hard, and I'm proud of him for not giving up as many hiccups as he's hit. You're doing a good job, buddy. Keep it up, man. Keep it up.
You know what? Everybody here has fallen flat on their face trying to do their art. I just noticed that. You want look at a grizzled bunch of survivors who've absolutely like. No, I'm serious, guys.
No, you're right. You're right. I mean,
we are nerd
bleeding money. I mean, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
But I mean, see, like, because I don't talk about it a lot, but I actually had a contract with a company, an RPG company, to do the art for their book. Cranked out 200 images, and it was on a shared folder. The images disappeared, the company disappeared, got not a cent, and slightly scrubbed versions of my art showed up on it failed miserably RPG that was floating around. And anybody who just imagine drawing 200 pictures, even if you're not like an art. Just took it on the chin. I didn't lose any money, but vast amounts of time and effort and my IP, because I didn't want to. All that art was on one folder because I couldn't publish it anywhere else. So
even with our own RPG, think about what we had here. We hired someone to do the layouts, and they tried to take over the game and rewrite it.
God.
We had to untangle that web.
Host their own playtest sessions. We hired somebody to do layouts for the quick play. Host their own. They were telling me how to change my game, and they were trying to publish their own rule set.
Yeah, and then they tried to charge me by the hour instead of by the job. Yeah. It's like, oh, well, really, that took me longer than I thought it was going to. It's like, well, that's not my fault. It's not my problem. It's like I will pay for the job. How much for the job? Estimate your time. If it takes less, you still get that same amount. If it takes more, well, you should have managed your time better. That's how it works with me. I have a page rate, not an hourly rate. I don't clock in for people that I do art for. I say, here's how much it's going to cost you to do the job. And if I can get it done faster, then bully for me. If I can't, then man, I gotta buckle down.
I have done gigs where I did one where they had me punch in. They literally had a website punch in, do it all on this file. It'll track your time.
Congratulations, Ray. That's nice. I've got a meeting today at 12:30. I might have a new
make your money.
Have yet another gig. So yep, 2023 is going to be great, guys. I think it's going to be fun.
Am I roboting bad, or is everybody else?
No, I think it's just you.
Okay. By the way, I just have to say that the latest issue of Hybrids, I don't know if you talked about it while I was away, but I'm just telling you, man, it is chef's kiss, just choice. Like, it is the best Hybrids issue yet, and that's because it's full of action and adventure in the moment, and just ties up a whole lot of loose ends, but also leaves a few dangling for fun. So it's so
I'm
good.
telling you,
so good.
I tried my best
and whoever you use to print is definitely I'm all in to print Chrome Dog with that, as long as they can handle what I'm wanting to do with the special cover.
They cannot do Chromium yet.
It's okay.
They're a small business.
I'll probably
do a business that's kind of starting out.
So. Chromium for Chrome Dog.
Exactly. Like, hello.
I got a notification yesterday. My Hybrids is on the way. So,
yep.
There you go. Yeah. No spoilers here, but I'm telling you, man, it is the best.
Nice.
Thank you.
I've been. Luke tells me things, y'all. You don't understand.
I bet.
Eventually, after Hybrids, the RPG comes out, there will be additional releases, because the characters that are set in the period where we did the game are going to level up as happens in comics, and there'll be changes. So I tend to get to know that this is coming down the pipe later. And when I'm having meetings with Luke, both of us are too busy to stop what we're doing. So it looks like a draw stream for me, where I'm watching him work on whatever he's working on. And folks, my gut hurts. It hurts. He did me dirty with the scene with Serafina's mom. He did me dirty.
Oh yeah, that's true.
No,
that's true. Yeah, that's true. That's another one.
I mean that just came out of left field.
But the way it's presented too, by the way, folks, like the way it's presented. So anyway, just get Trash Day. I mean, you guys want to start, get the Trash Day, the whole Trash Day trade paperback. That you will not be
your wallet. Shove
available on the website right now.
Exactly.
LukeStudios.com, or you can get it from arrowcomics.store.
And you don't have to back it. You just buy it. Just buy it and enjoy it. It is so good.
Just buy it and love it and hate it. And I say that with deep in my heart because he said, okay, we're doing this. I'm doing the game design, so he sends me the PDFs and stuff. I'm like, no. Okay, this character does that. They need this ability, but what? And it's like, damn it, Luke. He just gets, because I don't give warning when I message Luke. I send Luke things with no how you doing. That's not how I operate. I was like, what the heck? And all I get is the LOLs out of him, laughing maniacally, because he knows exactly. Like, are you sure you're putting that scene out? Yes.
I love it. I love it when readers send me those messages. Justin sent me one of those messages. He was just like, wow. And I just smiled. I was
like, dude! Exclamation, like 27 exclamation points.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of this issue. I'm really proud of the next 3 that are coming out too.
And see, the thing is, because we've talked about the writing, and I've done a couple small writing projects for Luke. It's funny. The thing I can talk about the least, that matters the least, because it's a very, very small thing, I think I'm most proud of. And that one was born of me literally just sending Luke this in text. I think that might be one of my most proud writing moments in history.
Yeah.
And he knows, but I can't talk about it because you'll have to get something special next year.
Yeah. But, with the trade with the Lifeline trade, so we're doing a trade for Lifeline, and in that will be a special scene that I just got a message one day from Nick, and I just read it. He wrote it in prose form, and I read it, and at the end I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, and my response was, dude. I gave him the dude. I said, we're drawing that. I said, I'm drawing that and I'm printing it at the end of that's going to be a special scene at the end of Lifeline. So, because it sets up something for the future that I want to do. Nick's done that a couple of times. When he wrote the RPG, I decided to create, as we talked, I was like, I'm just going to create a set of twins then. And one of the twins is featured in issue 6 and 7, I believe. No, issue 7 of Hybrids. And the other twin is in the Quick Play. So, yep.
There are things I love, and the fact that in making the game, I got to play on the periphery of Luke's universe. So there are a couple villains that are going to be in the new version, and a couple side characters that are going to give us, and it's so arrogant to say us, but us wiggle room with exploding the story in different directions later. And I'm just, I love. Here's how you can tell a good writer. A good writer doesn't pull it out of nowhere. When something happens, and if it's written really well, you look back and go, he's been saying, this has been going on from issue 1, like page 1 or 2. He's had a little Easter egg, and you can go back and like, oh my God, it's been laid out. And, especially a good superhero book, I find, reads like a conspiracy theory. You know what I mean? Like, after a while, and that's where the great discussions, because then you start going, okay, is this meaning this?
Guys, I got to go.
Rascal.
Yeah.
Here, Randy.
I'm going to have to go too. I have a meeting in 15 minutes. So.
Oh, my. Okay. So
bye,
this is
Randy.
perfect.
All right, everybody.
See you, Randy. Thanks
see
for
ya.
joining us today.
Take care. Thanks for having me. We'll talk to you soon. Take care, everybody.
Craig,
Happy
came
holidays.
back to the show. Buddy Craig, Justin
Merry
lives here
Christmas.
almost as much as I do. But please come back to the show. I want to talk to you more. I don't feel you got to talk a lot. You have some neat angles, and I want to know more about your book. I'd love to, like, when you relaunch, we have to do a big show for it. It just has to happen.
Oh yeah, we will
for sure.
Yeah, we'll do a multi-channel event. It'll be great. So yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. Buddy had to back out as well. Thanks, Buddy, for being here. We appreciate you. Well, I think it's that time, guys. Check out Justin's mailing list. That is in the comments.
Oh wow, appreciate it.
Yeah, so that way you can sign up for Chrome Dog. Chrome Dog will launch on Fund My Comic probably.
Oh yeah,
very soon.
Got no reason to go anywhere else.
Very soon. Mad Ruth Studios now, right? Mad Ruth,
yes, yeah.
Mad Ruth will be relaunching on Fund My Comic soon, and I don't believe you're in demand over on Indiegogo. You can't even find it. They shadow banned you. Yeah. Role playing game. Yes, you can get the quick play right now from the website. So LukeStoneStudios.com.
It is
Check that
comic
out.
book size and fits nicely in a bag and a board. In case you were wondering.
Oh, and the full manual will be graphic novel sized because we want it to be able to be where you can just stack it nicely
And
up with the
guys,
books.
if you need to ship anything, can I remind you that we have a code for Gemini mailers called Nerd10?
Use Nerd10 for 10% off your Gemini order. Yep, so that works out.
We're all about helping everybody.
Yes, and make sure you're shipping those in Gemini mailers and not ridiculous, just floppy standard envelopes. No Manila envelopes. Come on, folks. Preserve the comics. Get them to the get them to your customers.
I'm glad you enjoyed your time here, File 13. We hope everyone
File
enjoyed
13, I didn't want to impose, but I've been watching you and Ali's conversation in the chat, and it has been utterly delightful. I love seeing people make good connections, and there's so many really great people in the different circles I travel in. I want to get as many of them overlapping, because I don't know how many times I've walked in and, I can't find a book that doesn't suck. I can't find a comic that doesn't suck. I don't like this.
We got a few.
Come home. We're open. We'll leave the light on for you. Come over, join us.
Yeah.
We got a
File 13. You can find me as well on Twitter. I'm Mad Ruth on Twitter. I'd be happy to add you if you have any questions. You can just DM me away. My phone doesn't wake me up. I look at the questions when I wake up, but please add me and we can talk. Looking forward to it.
Me too.
Check us
I'm,
out. Yeah,
I'm at Justin K Sweet. That's the Twitter. So, and I pretty much live there. I'm also on Discord, but we don't really talk about that.
No. If you follow me on Twitter, I'll probably post up the Discord invitation so you guys can join in our silly little chat that we do.
Oh, absolutely. And we're serious. You can follow me here, or just go. All my links, except for the Indie CD ones, are on www.nicholastucker.com.
Yeah.
It
Same
looks
here,
like a site from
Studios.
2012, mind you, because I'm building it as I get a chance, but it'll get you to where you need to go.
Yep. Be sure to check out LukeStoneStudios.com and ArrowComics.store and bookmark FundMyComic.com. And for that RPG, head over to HybridsRPG.com, and that'll get you to the mailing list on that one. That's what we got going right now. So guys, thanks for being here, chat. We thank the chat. You guys are awesome. The show is about you. Thank you, panel. You've been great contributors. It's been great to have you guys on the show today. I think we had a good conversation. Hopefully, this show has been helpful and useful to people out there today. And remember, try to build up more than you tear down. There's a lot of people tearing down. Make something. Go out there and make something. Leave the wood pile higher than you found it. And by all means, please be careful out there.
Careful out there.
Let's be careful out there. Let's be careful out there. We had a 187 at the 7-Eleven on the corner of 4th and Main. male persuasion for the bullet through the cashier's brain. Moving on, I see it to 11. Half a dozen 459. 2 ADWs, a GTA, and several miscellaneous crimes.